Hi, this is Jim Diamond, Predators reporter for AP and Ringside Report, but my friends call me Diamondback. You're listening to the Steve Dangle Podcast. Much like my backhand, it'll get you.
Panago Pizza presents STP. The Steve Dangle Podcast with your hosts, Steve Dangle and Adam Wild.
You ready?
No.
You ready?
No.
Are you ready? Because, I just thought it would be prudent to bring up the fact that somebody else helped out the GD Blackhawks again.
Again, we called it.
Again!
We called it. I love when stuff happens like this. Not like we do a podcast and we accidentally miss Thomas Vanek getting traded. Mm-hmm. Where we say something is the way it is and people go, is it really? And then reality comes in and goes, yes! Teams line up to help the Blackhawks like a grandmother who just heard you haven't eaten in 6 hours. Oh my goodness. John Chayka, especially. Now.
John Chayka is really good at that.
Is at the top of the list.
Well, what I don't understand about this.
That was weird about the Homerson trade is it looked like the Blackhawks got shafted. But now if you combine the two.
No, but you don't combine the two. They're separate trades.
Yeah.
That was one thing Dmitry Filipovich actually said that, where he was like, well, if you combine the two, they kind of make sense. But it's like, well, no. Nobody's doing them a favor.
Yeah, this isn't like Polak getting traded to the Sharks
for a player,
and then Reimer getting traded there a week later.
Right.
There was a considerable gap.
Yeah.
And now the Blackhawks get noted bust Anthony Duclair, which it's funny. The perception is very funny. If I told you there was a third-round pick who was 22 years old and wasn't going to turn 23 until next season, so he's a hard 22, and I told you he already had NHL experience, you'd take that player.
Yeah, I would.
That's Anthony Duclair.
Yeah.
He's already got a 20-goal season under his belt. Now,
which happened 3 years ago when he was 19.
I know, yeah. So if you look at the 4 seasons he's played, this is his 4th. It looks like the 20-goal season was the exception and not the rule. But he's also got time to become better. He's 22.
That's what I didn't understand about this trade. Like, I know the Coyotes sort of had to make a trade, but like, you're getting Richard Panik, who's 26, and obviously overperformed last year. I mean, it's like, we know, okay? Yeah. Like, we all kind of knew that Richard Panik would come back to Richard Panik level. And you're trading a guy with upside for a guy with, this is his side. This is it.
Okay, so it was Panik for Duclair, and there was also Clendening going to Chicago.
Yeah.
Who came back to Arizona? Who was the other guy? I don't know. That's not a good start. So it couldn't have been that important.
An AHLer, and his name is Laurent Dauphin.
Oh, right. Wasn't Dauphin part of the Homerson trade? I thought.
He might have been. Yeah,
I don't know how you justify this trade,
was.
because I was going to say, well, maybe you can deal Panik at this deadline. I don't understand.
Like, Richard Panik had 22 goals last year.
Yes.
And he had 6 in 30 games the year before, and he's got 6 in 37 this year. So he's on pace for kind of what he got in Toronto, which was like 11.
Yeah, that's the strange thing with Panik, is he's actually on pace for a not so bad year, and even for his money. So I guess when the trade deadline comes along, teams will want him.
Yeah.
What I'm a little confused about is...
Oh, so you think that Arizona got Richard Panik to deal Richard Panik?
Yes, but I would value Anthony Duclair a little bit more, I think. Is it because the Blackhawks are so cap-strapped? Because last I checked, doesn't this deal give them... I think before this deal happened, they had like $5 million.
Yeah.
$4 or $5 million.
Yeah, I don't think they were that bad, especially after Homerson. But
and speaking of the podcast and the Blackhawks, Brent Seabrook scratched.
And then comes back and scores a goal. Yeah, I know.
It's too good.
I know.
It's too good.
So the Blackhawks, they reduced their overall salary cap number by $1.6 million with the trade.
To what?
I don't know what the overall number is.
So
they save $1.6
They
million.
even save money on this.
What does Stan Bowman have on the rest of the league? My dad will autograph a bunch of your stuff. Like, what is it?
I don't know.
Seriously, what is it?
He's doing a great job. He's doing a great job. Like, I don't get mad at Stan Bowman. Stan Bowman's rocking this, man. It's
nope.
How is and Anthony Duclair, obviously, like, I know you're going to come at us with your tweets like Anthony Duclair asked for a trade, and apparently he asked for a trade like a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
He never wanted to be in Arizona.
I would love to know how many players asked for a trade. Exactly. Yeah. A, who the hell would want to be there? And no offense to Coyotes fans, but you get it. And I don't remember what B was.
No, but you have a team
The answer is Shane Doan.
is continually selling off good players just to meet the floor of the salary cap. Like, who wants to play on that team?
A lot of people were going, "Oh,
There's an outside chance you won't finish last this year.
yeah,
What are you playing for?
Chayka and his analytics. I think it was Tyler Dello who tweeted, "Any analytics guy worth their salt thinks John Chayka is a bit of a snake oil salesman."
Really?
Oh yeah. I don't know exactly why. That's a little too inside analytics for me, but
That's interesting. So even the analytics community is like, meh,
they're like, no.
really?
And he has made, he made a few moves that look great. Looked like it should have made the Coyotes better, and it very hasn't. It's a sad thing, man. I feel terrible for Coyotes fans.
Yeah, of course.
How do you get out of this? Ever? Or is it maybe, I don't know what it is. Like, what are the odds the Coyotes will be able to put together a team that can contend, that they can keep together for longer than 2 or 3 years? Like, how are they going to pay Clayton Keller when the time comes?
Max Domi, too.
How are they going to pay Max Domi? How are they going to pay, I don't know, do they have enough players to have to worry about this problem?
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's weird. And this trade was weird. And I don't know if we got enough play for how weird it was. It's weird. You can't tell me that it's the back half of the Connor Murphy trade. You can't.
No, I feel
it's
like
not.
Too many people, you know why people didn't react? I feel like a lot of people looked at this and just went, the way of the world. Good. Blackhawks do dumb things. Blackhawks who are good do smart things. Yes, indeed. That's all.
Are we all a little burnt out too? Do we all need our All-Star break soon? Is that what it is?
I do.
And then we can gear
I do.
up. Gear
I
up
had
to
my
work.
existential crisis last episode, and I feel worse.
Oh, I
feel worse today.
I actually have a really great DM on my tweets. Someone slid into my DMs.
I got a lot of really nice messages from people offering to help, and I'll be reading a bunch of them over the next few days.
This one's not someone offering help. It's offering advice. And I think it's very different.
Oh, is this the business owner guy who tweeted you?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, there is a business owner guy who tweeted me, but this isn't him.
I thought you were going to be like, check out how right I am, Steve.
This is from a guy named Nick Longo.
Nick Longo.
Said, hey, Adam, longtime listener of the ESDP. Love the energy you guys bring to the table and my ear holes. You're welcome, Nick.
Gross.
You asked in the last podcast for people to write in about what Steve should be doing to boost his YouTube channel. Technically, this is more for him, but your DMs are open, and I didn't want to get soapboxy. I'm not Steve on social media.
Listen,
I like Nick already.
what is your message about me?
I do a ton of marketing for small businesses, and what I've found over the years is that it's critical for business owners to get out of their own way, offloading the have-tos to be able to work on their want-tos. I completely agree with you and Jesse when you said it was a waste of time for Steve to learn Photoshop for the sake of growing his podcast. There are freelancing sites out there.
LFRs, yeah.
LFRs. There are freelancing sites out there like Fiverr that you can get people to work on, graphics for a few bucks. Much more worth it than hours of learning in terms of what it would take to get started and then completing a graphic every episode.
But didn't they say in the times of Jesus,
The biggest
teach a man to fish? Sorry.
The biggest recommendation I would have for Steve is to diversify his content. He's an incredible showman when it comes to the Leafs, but his understanding of hockey goes way deeper than that. And he pigeonholes himself a bit in his YouTube channel by zoning in on things that could affect the Leafs.
No, I think you expand that knowledge when you do videos for sports.
For sure, and that's the other part of it, right?
You also have another job where
That's
you
fair.
do those videos.
Yeah.
I feel like, there is a bit of a disconnect between my channel and the videos I put on television
Yeah.
that later go up on Sportsnet's YouTube channel. People go, why don't you make videos about other teams? And I'm like, they're there! They're on Sportsnet!
See, maybe you're just not a good marketer.
Maybe not. That's
know.
entirely possible,
You
Jesse.
just need to promote your own stuff so people know there are other videos and you don't get messages like this.
He suggests that you do add a segment called the If I Were You segment. So if you were a fan of that particular team, how would you feel about this? Which I thought was kind of a good idea.
Is he kidding? And are you kidding?
Yeah. Do you not watch Steve's videos?
Well, I watched those. Yeah, but I like for Sportsnet or for you in the LFR.
On Sportsnet? On Sportsnet?
I think he's talking about your YouTube channel. I'm sure he's aware.
I literally do that.
He does
It's
that.
called If I Were You.
Why don't you do it more?
I mean, I forget on a couple videos.
That's
but
probably what I mean.
I've done it more often than I haven't.
Also, most of the time, I am leaving work as soon as your video goes to air.
Make a lot of
I
excuses.
consume a lot of Steve Dangle content. All right,
You know what? You should pay an intern to watch my videos.
Are you listening? Are you listening to my entire radio show every day?
No.
No. So, and then.
Jeez,
anyway,
Adam just pulled the trump card.
I'm just saying.
Jeez.
I'm just saying.
I'm on the radio. Me. We're having a me off.
Maybe that's a great idea, and you could expand on it. Anyway, I thought that was good. Mostly the part about the offload some stuff. Focus on the Steve content rather than the Steve other stuff.
I got to think about it. Jesse, the mic you sent me sounds really good.
Sweet.
The problem is when I scream, it peaks like way too loudly. So
Yeah, it's very sensitive.
I think I need to. You have driven me to get a microphone.
Okay.
Is that good?
No, that you should have done that already.
A long time ago.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Hey, we now know what Team Canada is going to look like.
Did we move on from Arizona to Chicago?
Oh yeah, did we just move on?
Yeah, I thought
I
we
mean,
did.
there's not much to say.
What else are we going to say? Do you have anything else to say?
CJ did say something interesting when he was talking about the trade, and then he said that he thinks that Arizona thinks that Panik is more of a player than he has been in Chicago, which I could see.
Chicago thought
because that would make the trade make more sense.
I suppose.
So his logic there makes sense.
I don't know. I just look at Duclair and Panik and go, that's the same player, roughly. And Duclair is younger and cheaper. So why wouldn't you want that one? I guess that's what I don't get.
Yeah, but maybe just the money. They won't pay him.
Maybe. What if over the next month, Panik looks a lot more like the guy who scored over 20 goals, and then you can sell him off at the deadline for second round pick? Mm-hmm. I mean, last year was a good indicator that teams will pay anything for depth that can help them. The Martin Hansel deal was absolutely absurd. So
crazy.
Maybe that's what they're going for. Maybe we can't judge the trade yet. It's not like Arizona made that trade to keep Panik. Right? Unless they did, then they're idiots.
When does his contract expire? This season?
I think it's one more year of 2.8.
If he's a UFA at the end of this year, then it's just okay. This is get the salary for now and then sell it, then let him go. Right?
No idea. I guess I just don't get it. What did you want to get to, Adam? Because
I was going to go to our
we have a phone guest in 15 minutes.
Oh, I was going to get to our Olympic rosters for men's
That's
and
great.
women's because we
that's
have
15 minutes.
Now that we have the men's and women's, we should talk about them both. But it's really some names that you were like, wow, he was a player once, or he was a high round draft pick once.
It's funny. Most Olympic roster announcements, you're like, yes, agree. This team's sick. Don't agree with this one, though. It's a very serious conversation. Every single player I went, oh. It was all high-pitched. Not a single player, oh.
Yeah, you can't really disagree with them. I did find it funny that P.A. Parento did not make this team after getting 25 points in the NHL last year.
Acton of Vollamn had a great tweet. He goes, okay, so does P.A. Parento have bad breath?
He might. He might.
Guys like, they always talk about the good locker room guy, et cetera, but I look at a guy like P.A. Parento and his story, and I look at a guy like Cody Franzen and his story, and I go, maybe they're jerks.
Do you think that?
Well, I don't know. I've met Cody Franzen, but it wasn't terribly in depth, and I don't remember if I've ever met P.A. Parento, so I couldn't tell you if they're jerks, and I couldn't tell you what their teammates think of them, but those are two players who should obviously be in the NHL that aren't right now. And Parento, like, how is Parento not on the Olympic roster?
That's weird. So anyway,
right? If it's weird once, maybe it's just weird. If it's weird all the time, maybe it's not weird.
Do you want some names who also didn't make it?
Yeah.
This is from Frank Cervelli of the Ugly Network.
The Ugly Network.
Max Talbot, Teddy Purcell, Nick Spaulding, Jay McClement, Zach Boychuk, Matt Fratt. There's some big names that didn't make it.
Actually, a few of those are pretty surprising.
Yeah.
Huh.
I think Nick Spalling's good enough. For sure.
Yeah, but you think.
Yeah.
Like, we're really splitting hairs with this roster.
Yeah,
here.
really, I'm not gonna die on the Nick Spalling hill.
I'm going to turn your phone down because I can see
could.
that. I can see who you're texting, and I feel like that might be for later.
René Bourque, Gilbert Brulé.
Here, go slowly because every single person listening right now, it's going to take them a sec to go through the Rolodex and remember who that is.
René Bourque, Gilbert Brulé in Edmonton.
Brulé was I want to say a
Columbus?
6th overall pick, Columbus.
Yeah.
And he played in Edmonton.
Was
for
that
a while.
was that a Doug McLean pick?
That was a Doug McLean pick.
Oh,
He
nice.
freaked out about it on the air recently because, there's a great video from that draft where Montreal had the 5th pick that year. And he goes, they picked the goalie? Yes. The goalie was Carey Price. So he could pick his guy. Anze Kopitar? No. Gilbert Brulé. Kopitar went a few picks later. Wow.
His name looks like a dessert.
I remember going to a flea market so I could find his rookie card because it was like one of the rare ones that year. And he was supposed to be a real good player. Turns out he's so good that he's on the Olympic roster.
Money you will never get back.
Nope.
Andrew Ebbett, Quentin Howden, Chris Kelly, Rob Klinkhammer. I do remember that name.
Chris Kelly,
Ottawa Senator?
I'm pretty sure literally does not have a hockey team right now. He signed a tryout with the Belleville Senators, which is Ottawa's AHL team, got cut, just signed another tryout, and then I saw he got named to the Olympic team.
Right. Then we've got Brandon Cozen, former Marley. Maxim Lapierre.
And Leaf.
Oh, yeah, I guess he
And
played with the
Leaf.
Leafs. Yeah, Maxim
Yeah.
Lapierre, Eric Odell, Mason Raymond, former Leaf, Derek Roy, Christian Thomas, Lyndon Vey, Wojtek Wolski, which is a really great story because last year at this time he was like in a hospital bed.
It was either he either broke his neck or it was a spinal injury or something like that. Absolutely crazy.
Stephon Elliott, this is on defense now. Stephon Elliott, Shea Genoway, Cody Goluboff,
Goluboff,
sorry, Cody.
former World Junior.
Marc-Andre Grignani, Chris Lee, Maxim Noro, Matt Robinson, and Carl Stollery. And then in the goaltender,
Chris Lee has been in the KHL doing his thing as an offensive defenseman for a long time. Good player.
Justin Peters, Kevin Poulin, and friend of the show, Ben
Scrivens.
Scrivezina.
And it's great because like Scrivens often gets like goalie of the week honors or whatever in the KHL. He lets in the occasional stinker, but he's been pretty good. And I look at the other two and I go, ooh, Justin Peters. Ooh, Kevin Poulin. I don't even know what Kevin Poulin's doing.
He was also the starter at the Spengler Cup.
Scrivens.
Poulin.
Oh, Poulin. Oh, there you go.
Nah.
That's the answer.
Like half the team is the Spengler Cup roster.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
that makes sense.
Yeah. So it looks like they brought a whole bunch of the guys over and keep them together and go play.
A lot
I
of
still
these
want to
guys
know
have a
why
book in them.
Cale McCarr decided not to go. Was it really school?
I don't know. So, okay, yeah, what's the story there? Help me.
I don't know. Well, they offered it to him.
Who is this again? I recognize the name.
World Juniors.
He's a prospect,
He scored,
right?
I think, 8 points. In
That's
the
right.
He was
Okay.
probably our first or
Best
second best
defenseman?
player, on the
Okay.
team.
And so he
first
wanted to go
round
back to
pick.
school.
He missed 3 weeks of school doing the World Juniors, and then he said that he didn't want to miss any more schooling, and he'd have to miss another 3 weekends of games if he went to the Olympics, and he turned it down.
That's ridiculous. Yeah, I don't think he wanted to go.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you want to go?
Dude, I'd drop out of school to play in the Olympics. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, me too.
It wasn't a problem when he wanted to play in the World Juniors, so it's weird that now it's a problem for the Olympics.
Maybe he's injured?
No. Like, he just played. I don't think so.
It's interesting. Leafs TV, when I worked for them, they had no problem with me going to the World Juniors. But then Olympic stuff came around in 2010, and I had to miss more time. Like, I had to book more time off, and they gave me shit for it. And I remember that was like one of the first times I ever stuck up for myself professionally. Because I was like, it wasn't, can I go? I was like, I'm going. I'm going. And they gave me a little bit of crap, and I was like, okay, are you telling me you wouldn't go if you were me?
Yeah, you're
it's
going.
the Olympics.
This is going in the book.
Let's go through the Canadian women's Olympic team. Anne-Renée Desbiens. Desbiens. Geneviève Lacasse. Geneviève.
The goalie,
Geneviève.
I think.
Shannon Zabados, of course. Those are the goalies. Renata Foss, Laura Fortino,
Bridget Laquette.
Former, what was her?
Clarkson Cupcake. We
Clarkson
played,
Cupcake.
Yeah, we played road
Laura
hockey with
Fortino.
Laura Fortino. She's the best.
You know what Fortino stands for or means in Italian? Sick player.
I remember that.
Jocelyn Lacroix, Megan Mickelson, Lorraine Rojoux. Sorry if I say that wrong. And then in forwards, of course, you're going to remember a lot of these names.
Adam's like, why are there so many French names?
French names are very bad. Forwards, Megan Augusta, Bailey Bram, Emily Clark, Melody Doust, Brianne Jenner, Rebecca Johnston, Sarah Nurse, Marie-Philippe Poulin, who is also the captain, Jillian Solner. Solner?
Let me see.
Solnier. Anyway.
Solnier, I would think.
Natalie Spooner, Laura Stacey, Blair Turnbull, and Jennifer Wakefield. That is a good team.
That's a good team.
That's the team I'm thinking is the stud team of the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, you could have started the list with Marie-Philippe Poulin. Whoa, it's a good team.
Yeah.
That's a really good team.
Yeah, it's true. So
Mrs. Olympics.
truly, it's funny. Like she had ridiculous gold medal games in both Olympics she's been in. Do you think there's pressure to follow it up? Like be like, okay, now I have to do something even more spectacular in this third gold medal game.
I don't think
if
you
I make
can
it.
rattle her.
No,
she's just too calm and pleasant. Like she scored the gold medal winning goal in Sochi and looked like she felt bad. She looked like she felt bad because I feel like there was a little tiny part of her that was like, we're on a power play on a penalty and I ended it this way.
I doubt that even crossed her mind.
But it looked like it.
It looked like it.
It looked like it.
She's a good Canadian. She wants to win fairly.
I bet what was actually going on in her head was, but out loud it was, I'm sorry.
Okay.
She goes down the handshake line and goes, sorry.
Do we have to make a phone call?
We do.
Okay, so who are we talking to first?
I don't remember which one we're calling first.
Oh.
Is it Edmonton or Toronto?
Well, we've got so there's a couple of guests coming on today. One of them is Matt Henderson, who is...
Well, he's a maybe. But
he's a maybe, okay. Yep. For sure, we have the guy.
Matt Henderson is the most hated person in Edmonton.
Yes, he is. He's the guy who the cowboy Chris Russell song was written about.
Yes, but I believe our first guest
is the guy that wrote...
the most hated man in Toronto today. We have Rob Vollamn, the author of the Should the Leafs Trade Auston Matthews story on ESPN.
It's a beautiful thing, so we're going to give him a shout.
So Rob Vollamn, as Steve just alluded to, could be the most hated man in Toronto right now.
Today?
Today.
You 100% are. Hi, Rob. You scum.
Public enemy number one.
Rob, you knew, right?
Yeah.
You knew this was going to be the case.
Well, of course I knew, but I believe in I believe in what I do, and sometimes you got to put things out there. And when you first put something out there, of course I knew what was going to happen. I mean, this is not my first rodeo.
Right.
Young Jesse Blake is sitting here at the side, just shaking his head. I don't think he likes the sound of your voice. Jesse just started his new job managing the social media for Tim and Sid, and today he got to tweet a screenshot of your work. Jesse, when you last checked, how many comments were there on the tweet?
Oh, on Instagram.
Wait, this was on Instagram. People left this many comments.
On
You're
Instagram,
joking.
the screenshot of your article is currently sitting at 1,035 comments.
So
Wow.
cracked 1,000.
Yeah, cracked 1,000.
So I guess I'll start with a question on everyone's mind. What are you smoking?
Well, listen, you sit around with the boys and the girls, and you're watching the game. You're on your bar stool. You're having a couple pops, and people start throwing ideas out there. And,
You were drunk. Good. Good.
Well, what are the ideas that people throw around? Is like, what about Auston Matthews? What if they traded Auston Matthews? And so I tried to craft a scenario where that made sense. And hey, I'll be the first to admit a lot of things have to happen before it makes sense. But all I'm saying is there is a situation where they should consider it.
What is that situation in your mind?
Well, the two big assumptions that lead to a Matthews trade. Number one is he has to ask for a lot of money. If he asks for the same deal as Connor McDavid. Now, if he signs for $10 million or less, it's a different story. But if he wants Connor McDavid money, then they have to think about where the cap space should best be invested. That's the first piece. And the second piece is if this hype around Matthews is great enough, and it seems like it is based on all the feedback, if this hype around Matthews is great enough, then the trade offer that they could get for Matthews might be high enough that it makes more sense to move him instead of, a bunch of other guys.
Now, Rob.
That's how every question should start.
I know. It's like this must have been so much fun to write, just in advance, knowing that the reaction would just be pandemonium among Leaf fans, because that we don't react well to anything, especially when it comes to Auston Matthews and him not being a Leaf. The argument for this trade mostly would be, and I think the example for this trade would be the Eric Lindros trade, correct? The one from Quebec City to Philadelphia?
I mean, that's the first thing that jumps to a lot of people's minds. But I've used this argument before. Just this past summer, I used the same argument, or at least a similar argument, about why the Canadians should trade Carey Price. No one really even cared about that one. And in the past, I used the same argument for guys like Seabrook. Not a peep. But don't get me wrong, I understand there's a difference between Auston Matthews and pretty much everyone else except Connor McDavid.
Good.
But yeah, I mean, it's the same argument. I'm just applying it to a different player.
Right. And I think
Carey Price is also 30.
Yeah.
Auston Matthews is 20.
And I also want to throw this out there. I want to throw this out there. Okay, so how many times do we really see, because I think we can all agree, all four of us can all agree that Auston Matthews is a franchise player, correct? Rob?
Yes, I think we can. Well, let me ask you this. I mean, where does he rank? Like, if Connor McDavid's the best player in the world, I think most people would begrudgingly agree with that. Where do you have Matthews? Do you have him as like a 1B, or do you have him at 5? Do you have him at 10? Like, where do you have Matthews?
I think he's got enough promise that he could be 2.
Mm-hmm. But not yet. He's not there yet. I mean, Sidney Crosby and Malkin exist, and like those, he might be top 5. He's definitely top 10.
But like, as those guys age, they will inevitably get worse.
Exactly.
Sure. Matthews has at least 2 or 3 years of getting better.
At this point, you probably want Matthews over Crosby just because of the age, because you get 20 years of Matthews and you get probably 8, 7, 6, 5, 4 years left of Crosby.
Okay. Do you think this is a good idea?
So that trading Matthews is a good idea. What I think is a good idea is that they should see what kind of offers are out there. And if there's a Lindros-like offer out there, they should be ready for it.
Because here's the thing. The thing is that this trade, and I'd like to... Rob, I'd like to the one trade that everybody thinks about again is that Lindros trade. Mm-hmm. And it just so happened that every single player in that trade happened to work out in some form or another for the trade? The Nordiques at Avalanche.
The trade.
So that is such an underrated trade. A lot of younger people don't know about that deal.
So they traded Lindros' rights to the Flyers for 6 players. Steve Duchesne, Peter Forsberg, Ron Hextall, Kerry Huffman, Mike Ricci, and Chris Simon, plus 2 draft picks and $15 million.
And the best part of that deal is 3 years later, as the Avalanche, they win Stanley Cup.
They win the Cup, yeah. And, Peter Forsberg is obviously a force to be reckoned with.
Forsberg and Lindros, I think, were part of the same Hall of Fame class.
It's crazy. It's crazy. So here's the thing. That worked out one time, and that was in the early 90s, and I would be surprised very much if the Philadelphia Flyers really knew what Peter Forsberg's potential would have been. If they really knew what Peter Forsberg was going to be, they wouldn't have traded him.
Okay, well, let me jump in here. If that trade hadn't happened, if the Flyers splashed some cold water on their faces in the last minute and walked away from the trading table, Quebec instead would have made the deal with the New York Rangers. The Rangers also had an offer for Lindros, and guess what? It was arguably even better than the actual trade that happened. It was Alexei Kovalev. It was Doug Weight. It was just amazing list of young players, John Beesbrook and Nets. It was a tremendous deal, and arguably just as good as a deal as the Flyers made. So it wasn't a fluke. I mean, Lindros was going for a windfall no matter what.
Okay. But when is it, my question again would be to follow that up, and fair enough, when has it happened since successfully?
When has a franchise player been traded away?
And that team gotten better.
Traded away the franchise player was the team that won.
Yeah.
Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Lindros is the only example of a team trading away a franchise player and that actually working out for them in the long run.
So that's the thing, is that's 25 years ago.
Well,
and so
okay.
What? Sorry, go ahead, Jesse.
Okay, if Arizona comes to you and says,
it's got to be Arizona.
we're going to give you OEL,
Yeah.
Clayton Keller, Max Domi, and a first-round draft pick for Auston Matthews, you take that. Do you not?
Jesse,
well, yeah, I do. Do you guys?
I do. I'm on Rob's side.
No, but this is the thing. People go, what if I offered you everything in the world? Wouldn't you take that? Of course I would.
That's what they did for Lindros.
No one can offer you that. No one.
What's the minimum offer? So Oliver Ekman-Larsson and a first-round pick, which is probably going to be top 5, possibly top 1. Now, first of all, that's the bare bones deal. Now, assuming you wouldn't accept that, what would have to be added? How much would you have to add to Ekman-Larsson and that top 5 pick? What would you have to add to that before
Keller?
it's finally?
In what
Keller,
Rick
that's
and
it?
Morty reality is it going to make sense for a player that is too expensive for the Leafs to be traded to Arizona?
Now, to be fair, Jesse was the one that put that scenario on the table, right?
What's weird, though,
I think John Jacob
did you put it in your thing there, Rob? Because everyone was tweeting me Coyote scenarios today. Is that just because he's from Arizona?
Well, I was using that as an example, and yes, because he's from Arizona. I also mentioned Carolina. They've got a lot of really good young defensemen. Do you think they could put together a package for Auston Matthews?
They got more good young defensemen than they have people in seats. So I think this goes back to the payment issue.
So here's the thing. I get what you guys are coming to, but I think what you can't underestimate here is somebody's worth to an organization beyond just their play on the ice. You know, it's not as though Auston Matthews, it's not as though the Leafs haven't pinned their hopes on his leadership going forward. And if you look at the type of player he is so much better than every other one of the Toronto Maple Leafs, who are already a deep team. It just, to me, if you're going to trade the top line talent, you better get it coming back. And I don't see anybody giving up Clayton Keller and Max Domi and picks and OEL. There's no way. It doesn't happen.
Well, you know, though, the general rule of trading is you always want to be getting rid of the best player in the trade. That is the general rule. Rob, let's cut to here's all I want to know. Do you know the traffic that article got today?
No, I don't know the exact traffic. I pinged my editor just to make sure I still had a job and asked him,
you do?
The hit count on that piece. Oh, I do. Yeah, I think I'm still good. I told him beforehand what I was planning on doing for the article, and he said, "I don't know. That sounds kind of gutsy. What's your pitch?" So I explained my pitch to him, and he's like, "All right." And so I wrote it up. I gave him a day or two to look at it before it ran, and we made sure that all the language was carefully couched and the opinions were marked as such, and all the arguments were backed up. So he knew it was coming too, and I'm pretty sure we're hitting new heights. I'm pretty sure this is the biggest hit count we've had this year.
Wow. I'm not surprised.
Do you have a like in and around a number?
6 digits minimum.
No, I'm afraid I don't have the exact numbers, but it's as high as, it's definitely as high as you would think. At least,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, by the I know other websites get more traffic than the ESPN hockey, but by our standards, it's quite a hit.
Rob, I'm gonna guess $500,000.
Yeah. Bare
I'd say
minimum.
more than that.
Yeah. Anyway,
Probably.
Rob, I want to congratulate you on the piece that set Leafs Nation on fire. And you know what? I want to thank you because we had such a painful loss last night. And this morning, this article comes out, and now we're not even talking about it.
There was a small part of me that was like, oh, just right into my veins.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I love this. I love
Rob, what are your mentions like right now?
Oh, it's pretty. It started off real bad. Like it started off.
Oh no!
And I've had a bad social media days before, and I knew it was coming. It started off real bad, but then it got so bad that it started to swing the other way. People started coming in and saying, "Okay, now Vollamn doesn't have to die."
No.
I haven't.
Wait, you got people saying that?
But oh yeah, it's pretty harsh, some of the stuff that you get, and then But then after the Tim and Sid, it swung all the way back again, and it got real nasty.
Way to go, Jesse, you big bully.
Well, Rob, we wish you the best of luck, and it's fun having you on because we obviously know it's not going to happen, but it's an intriguing prospect. It's very funny, and mostly it's not that your work isn't the funny part. The reaction to it has been absolutely hysterical. So for that, I thank you because boy, reading the tweets today has been fun.
Yeah.
Fun for you.
Yeah. What's where can we find your stuff?
Well, I definitely recommend my books, Stat Shot and everything in the Hockey Abstract series. But if you go to hockeyabstract.com, that's my website. You'll see all the player usage charts and the tools that I have. You can download all my spreadsheets. There's links to all my articles, links to all the radio spots. I'll even link to this one once you guys post it. And so if you're ever looking for anything I do, NHL.com, ESPN Insider, just go to my website and I'll link it to where you want to go.
What kind of data charts do you do?
The player usage charts?
Yeah. What are those like? Sorry, I've never seen them.
You've got to check out the player usage charts. They're pretty much my favorite statistical sort of innovation. It puts zone starts, like your zone start percentage, quality of competition, and most importantly, Corsi. It puts it all in the same chart. So it actually puts the stuff in perspective, in context, and it's just a glance.
That's awesome.
You can see how the players are being used. In fact, there's a player usage chart in the article itself on Auston Matthews, and I use that to defend the notion that they need another Morgan Rielly.
Well, this is why I was so blown away today, because I'm like, Trading Matthew, what idiot Rob Vollamn? What? So, yeah, if people go and check out your stuff, it won't be more of that.
No, it's an informed hockey mind, and that's what makes this interesting.
It was just, I don't know, I just found it so interesting that you were like, I don't know, it is fun. It is very, like, did you, like, get super baked and watch a bunch of Bill Wirtz videos and then decide to write this? Because like this is like it's a scenario that'll never happen, but it's like, man, if only we had flying cars. But you know what a world would look like if we had flying cars? Like
to me, it's just like it's the perfect article for Reddit. This is
or a podcast.
Yeah, it's great. So Rob, thank you so much for your time. We do hope to have you on again when you write your next piece on why the Leafs need to trade William Nylander. And good luck in becoming the next general manager of the Arizona Coyotes, because I think it's going to happen for you.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks, buddy. So, you know what? I got to give Rob credit in this. He is completely unapologetic about it. He believes it. He's like, you know what? This could be the right move.
Well, he's standing by, like, of course, if you offer the Leafs the sun and the moon for Auston Matthews, it makes sense. Of course. But
no one's doing that.
It's never going to happen.
Let me put my team at a disadvantage for the next 20 years for that one guy.
But what is this other than just a super hardcore version of all the armchair GM, hypothetical
Absolutely.
BS that we come up with?
It's fine. We don't have to talk about last night's loss, which we do actually have to talk about, which we should talk about.
I heard you did it in the LFR, and I was in such a terrible mood last night. I woke up in an okay one, and I had to talk about that game again, and by the end of the LFR, I was miserable again.
Well,
miserable.
I want you to, Jesse, is our computer queued up? Are we good to go on that? Mm-hmm. Okay. I want to bring up a clip, so everybody throw their headphones on here.
Oh, boy. What's this?
And it has to do with one of the smartest minds in hockey. It's
Rob Vollamn.
Renaud Lavoie.
Renaud Lavoie.
And he was on Jeff Blair this morning, and he talked about watching the Leafs game yesterday, and his take on it is very, very interesting because Jeff Blair uses the word fragile. That's how I would describe them, too.
What we've seen from the Leafs recently, they go on this 5-day mandated break as a result of the collective bargaining agreement. Should we be a little surprised that this Leafs team looks to be a little fragile still?
You know what? You're not going to like what I'm going to say to you. Mm-hmm. And I don't want it. Nobody, I think, with the Maple Leafs are going to use that. But I really do feel watching the game last night versus the Ottawa Senators that fatigue was part of the equation.
Okay.
To be honest with you, who's the team who played the most this year in the NHL so far? It's the Toronto Maple Leafs. No other team played 45 games yet. And so that means that they played 5 games more than the Boston Bruins. That's a lot.
It is.
People don't realize how difficult it is to play in the NHL. It's a challenge night after night. The only thing that I'm hearing from dressing room to dressing room is there's no off nights anymore. You expect an easy night. It's going to be the worst night of your career probably. So you need to be really, really sharp. And you've talked about Morgan Rielly. It's 2 games in a row. Morgan Rielly is way better than that. But talking to a lot of players in the last few days, they're saying the same thing. Part of those quote unquote brain cramps are fatigue. You want to be the hero. You want to be the one who's going to keep the puck inside the offensive zone. There's miscommunication, and the first thing you know is you're going to lose a game because of a mistake like that. I saw that movie a lot in the last few weeks with the Montreal Canadiens. I think with the Canes it's a little different. When you're losing night after night, it's a different kind of fatigue, but it's fatigue. You're just exhausted of losing. With the Toronto Maple Leafs, it's really now this is a team that's just tired. And maybe that's one of the reasons why we don't see as much as we want Auston Matthews on the power play. Maybe Mike Babcock knows with his experience that with young players, because he's still a young player, you need to be really careful with the ice time, because as much as today is important, you want Auston Matthews to be on top of his game in April and in May, and if you can in June. So because of that, you need to manage a lot of his minutes.
Interesting.
This is just a damn good hit. Encouraging for sure. I would love it if fatigue was the big problem.
You don't think it is?
I don't know what the big problem is. I mean, the worst case is Babcock is actually this stubborn, and Rielly is actually this stupid, and et cetera, et cetera.
But I don't believe that.
No, honestly, and I said this out loud several times, but the only people there to witness were my wife and 2 dogs and the birds. They were there. I said several times throughout the game.
Suck, by the way.
They don't like me.
They don't like life. They don't like each other.
No, except when they do. They barf into each other's mouths and then they peck each other. They're jerks. Like, they're just jerks. Anyway, I said out loud several times, Morgan Rielly is playing the best game of his career.
Yeah.
I honestly thought he did. He was a world destroyer. The puck was always on his stick. Just shot on net. Myrtle posted something. JVR had 18 shot attempts last night, which is the most by any player in the league this season. The Leafs, who were losing most of the game, kicked the Senators up and down that freaking ice. And when they got up, they kicked them in the ass again. And friggin' Craig Anderson.
He was great.
He was great, but
night after being pulled too.
Friggin' Craig Anderson, and also the Leafs just.
They didn't bury a lot of chances. There was ones that, there was Kadri on the power play and Matthews, and there was tons of open nets or whatever, swings and misses. And
the big concerning thing with Matthews is this is 2 or 3 games in a row now where he's completely dogged it on the back check, and it's led to chances against. And I'm like, are you okay? Are you hurt? And then he did that crazy dangling in a phone booth thing, and I'm like, well, it's not his hands.
Maybe he's just tired.
He couldn't be that tired. Jesus,
he hasn't been playing.
Murphy.
He can't be tired.
Yeah, this is if Mike Babcock is intentionally dialing back his minutes, he's not doing a good enough job.
No.
He's not doing
Playing 12 minutes.
And this is the thing, Babcock is doing a lot of things that is pissing me off. Polak is huge. Playing Komarov far too much is another thing. But Polak being on the ice for the 3rd goal, a lot of people pointed out he could have been harder in front. Borgman gave the puck away. Borgman turned over the puck. On the 4th goal, where the Leafs had all the momentum still, and if they had just played the way they were playing, they were going to be fine. Rielly pinched and shouldn't have. It was a 3-on-1 against Hainsey. It could have potentially been a 3-on-2 had Matthews not been skating at the speed of smell. He was brutal. It was completely brutal. So I look at it and I go, it's really simple mistakes that this team is better than. The Rielly giveaway on the game-tying goal against Columbus, where's your brain at? Mm-hmm. But again, it's just like we can't overreact to it too much because it's just like Freddie misplaying the puck twice in a row. What was it? Tampa,
and then I remember.
You know what I'm talking about?
Over Christmas, right?
It's just because it happened twice in a row.
Was it over Christmas?
New Year's. So if Rielly does those things twice over the course of a season, you go, okay, but he did it twice in a row right there. And so you go, Rielly. Meanwhile, he's playing the best hockey of his career, easily.
But both times, both mistakes led directly to a goal.
Oh, I know. Not just a goal.
The game-winning goal.
Game tying and game-winning goal.
Yeah.
It's so brutal. And if he is correct that it's fatigue, it's a big month for the Leafs then. Because they got 5 days off right now in their bye week. And then at the end of the month, they have another 5 days off, which I think is just by accident. Mm-hmm. So it's funny what he said. The Leafs have played 5 more games than the Boston Bruins. The Leafs and Bruins have switched spots. Mm-hmm. This time last year, we were talking about how the Leafs had a comfortable lead on the Bruins. Oh, wait, no. How did it work again? Oh, yeah, the Bruins had played more games than the Leafs.
The Leafs were tied with them. And then
and we were like, we had all these games in hand.
All these games in hand, and then the Leafs completely squandered it.
Yeah, and then we didn't catch up. Yeah.
So who knows? Maybe the Bruins completely blow them out of the water here, but the Leafs have it. Forget about the Bruins for a sec. I mean, head in your own boat. The Leafs for the final stretch of the season, if he's right about fatigue, should be way, way, way better. So show me.
Would you like to hear what Chris Johnston had to say about the minutes?
I would.
And it's about Auston Matthews as well, so I thought this was interesting.
The fact that Mike
CJ.
Babcock is
What a season
limiting
he's having.
Auston Matthews' power play time. How do you read that situation? Or is it just a matter of him wanting to keep Auston Matthews fresh because he is such a horse?
Well, I think certainly part of it is the benefit of having as many forwards as Leafs do that can score and trying to spread the minutes among all those guys. It's hard to keep everybody happy in that kind of scenario. And, also not, putting too much on Austin's plate. I think that there's a balance being struck there. I actually just looked this up the other day. If you look over the last 2 seasons, Austin actually has played the most amount of power play ice time and the most amount of even strength ice time among any forwards on the Leafs since he entered the league. So, what you're having is not having him play as many big minutes as other star players do at this stage of his career, but he still has received the most ice time among the guys the Leafs have, and I think that they're in a position where they don't have to lean on him as heavily as say the Pittsburgh Penguins do their star players, because if you look at the guys around Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin and Phil Kessel, there's a lot of players that most people might not even realize are in the NHL playing with those guys, and I don't think we're long from the Leafs having that kind of scenario themselves. I mean. With Tyler Bozak and James Van Riemsdyk and Leo Komarov, in my view, all likely being gone from this team next year. You're going to have quite a bit of turnover at forward. That means probably more of the young players get an opportunity, whether it's Kasperi Kapanen, players from the Marlies. There could be some other signings, but in time here, it's going to get to where the Leafs are leaning much more heavily on Auston Matthews, and it's. To me, it's not such a bad thing that he's not playing 20 minutes a night on average, just because I do feel it's an inevitability that he's going to get there. And when you have this time, where you can play guys like James Van Riemsdyk on your third line and have Kadri and Patrick Marleau on a different line from Austin and still have Nylander and Matthews together, I mean, it's a unique window, and it's one where I think the Leafs can preserve him too, because Austin spoke quite openly last year that he burnt out, around this time of the year, not too long after the All-Star break.
Could have fooled me, Austin.
Just the amount of games he'd never experienced before. The demands on him as an NHL player were very difficult. So, to me, it's not unwise to try to save his best for March and April, and maybe even May, if the Leafs can go on some kind of playoff run.
So that's interesting. They may be holding back.
Man, they must really believe in Connor Carrick.
Yeah, right?
They must really, and Travis Dermott.
Yeah. Well, so I think there's a couple things to it here. Maybe that's what they're doing. I don't know. Maybe fatigue's a thing. I think it is. I think fatigue for sure is. 45 games versus 40 games is a lot.
Leo Komarov's legs are about to fall off then.
I also think there's this. I think the Leafs have outgrown Leo Komarov, and I think the Leafs have outgrown Tyler Bozak, and I think the Leafs have outgrown Roman Polak. And that doesn't mean they can't be useful players on this team this year, but I think it's fairly clear this year that anything beyond this I just don't see it.
I think JVR at 6x6 you look at. you consider for sure.
No, I think with Adam, they've outgrown his contract because that money should go to one of the young guys.
Yeah, I think so. And I think you got to let. You still got Marleau there, and I think you got to let Matthews, Marner, and Nylander take over and become their team. Mm-hmm. Leo and Bozy and JVR have been great soldiers when you consider what they've gone through. Like, think about what Tyler Bozak's gone through since he signed here in 2009. Holy shit, right?
Yeah.
Like, wow, are there a lot of downs and just a few ups?
A few ups. Yeah, his first NHL goal.
Last year was kind of cool.
Yeah. Game 6 against the Bruins.
Game 3.
Game 3 last year.
No, game 7 versus the Bruins up until about 7 minutes left.
Yeah,
that was fun.
True.
Why?
Man, that almost second round was great.
Yeah.
Sorry, what were you going to say?
I just think that okay, we're looking at a team now and worrying like, oh my God, is this going to happen in the future?
It's that, and it's also all season long, everything that's been bugging us, we've kind of been like, but it'll go away. It'll go away. And now it's getting to the point where, you ever been in the passenger seat and you don't drive the way the driver drives? And when, if there's a car in front of you or if you're approaching a red light or something, when you would start to stop.
Yeah, sure.
In your car that's got different brakes than the other guy, he brakes the way, he or she brakes the way they like to brake. But you ever been there like, stop? And every time you say stop in your head, it gets a little louder until it straight up comes out of your mouth?
Yes.
Yeah. I think it's starting to come out of everyone's mouth. Get rid of Pollock. Get rid of Pollock. Get rid of Pollock. Get him off. Get him off. And, play Matthews more. Play Matthews more. Why isn't he playing? Play him! People are starting to get panicky. But maybe Babcock's just better at playing chicken than we are.
Mm-hmm. I don't think any of this is a problem until game 83.
One thing Chris said there made me feel so much better. Game 83. I hope they get there. One thing Chris said that made me feel so much better was like he made me feel silly. He's like, Matthews playing 20 minutes isn't an inevitability. And I was like, oh yeah.
And he just doesn't need to yet.
Yeah. No coach is that stupid.
Oh.
Hopefully, especially not Babcock. No coach is that stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Are they?
What do you mean?
Like to not be like, yeah, Matthews is our best player and should play the most.
Oh, I don't think so. No, I don't think they're. I think they're for sure managing minutes. That's to me
after February, because at the beginning of February, I think they let him go.
I really didn't. I don't know why I didn't think about it this way, but you know how much they put into sports science, and you know how that first season for any rookie is hard because they've never played this many games before. And they're not men yet. Also, like they're not physically filling out. Even though Austin's a big boy, if you've ever stood next to him, he's huge. But it's the rigors of the game, and you'd think, the younger guys that have a better handle on that. No, it's the guys that have been through it 3 or 4 times who can go, okay, I know what to expect here. I know when I should be going to bed. I know when I shouldn't be going to bed and playing video games. Like I know what I should be doing here.
Stupid things that you don't even think of when you're young and immortal.
Exactly.
Am I drinking enough water?
Bingo, yes.
Yeah.
And so it is the only logical explanation for the deployment of the forwards thus far. The defense still doesn't make sense to me. The defense still, I can't figure out what are they doing? What is going on?
Well, and a few people indignantly posted, well, what did you expect? Polak kills penalties. I'm like, every player on the ice is allowed to kill penalties.
There isn't a lot to be said for Polak killing penalties either.
Oh, sorry.
There isn't a lot of data to back up that he even makes the penalty kill better because there's tons of stats, even from this season. There's a pretty good sample size of him not playing on the penalty kill, and it isn't any different.
He's very ho-hum. And you could teach another defender to do what he does.
I think I got a crazy tweet last night from somebody who went through and actually judged how many games they'd won with Polak on the ice and how many games they hadn't. Well, with Polak, they were 500. Without him, they were like 10 games up.
Yeah, I seen the stat.
Do you want me to read it?
Yeah, you got it.
It's from Patrick Ines. I hope I'm saying that right.
Good tweet, man.
The Leafs' record with Polak in the lineup, you ask? 11, 13, and 2. That includes
500.
3 shootout wins. They have 8 regulation overtime wins in his 26 games in the lineup. .462 percentage. That's not point percentage.
Yep.
On the flip side, they're 14-4-1 without him, with 13 regulation overtime wins in 19 games without him. .763 percentage.
So I'll go back to what I've said about the Oilers all season long. It can't be the lack of Andre Sekera that has sunk your whole season. Likewise, it can't just be third pairing defender Roman Polak.
No, it can't. It can't. But let's not pretend it helps.
Exactly. Like so Zaitsev's out. So who we got killing penalties? We got Hainsey. We got Rielly. We got Gardner sometimes. Can't let Borgman plays like 14 minutes a night. You can't have him kill a couple penalties.
He's
sometimes.
Big. He's
Connor Carrick on this team.
Connor Carrick, he's allowed to kill penalties. I don't understand why people I
don't know why Travis Dermott couldn't.
Dude, Polak has all this size and toughness, but it's not like he uses it. He'll hit a guy in the corner or something, but in front of the net.
When can he?
Baby lotion. He's so soft in front of the net. And I don't know how hockey men, 200 hockey men, I don't know how hockey men don't see that.
That's our new Twitter, by the way. It needs to be, because I read a tweet yesterday, I think it was it Darren Drager or something? It was like, trusted hockey men.
Oh, yeah, trusted hockey men. 200 hockey men. I don't understand how people who watch every night, there are so many games where there will be an attacker in front, and I'm like, it's okay, there's a guy there, and it's Polak, and the guy gets the puck anyway, and he scores anyway. Is able to get the puck, corral it, shoot it, and score with it. Polak was there the entire time, in his face, did nothing. So big for nothing. I don't even remember where I got that from, big for nothing. I feel like I saw it on a World Star Vine comp. But seriously, he's big for nothing. So you're telling me you can't teach another guy to do that. And then when Zaitsev gets back, he's even more redundant. I said recently, I don't mind Polak being the 7th D. Yeah, I don't know. I think I do. He's not good. I don't know. But again, it's not on him that they're losing more than they should be.
And what kills me is it's a rotation with Dermott, Carrick, and Borgman, who has deserved to be in the lineup and has played most of the games.
Someone needs to slap Babcock.
Why is Borgman a part of this rotation? I don't get that. He's been playing great.
What was the big story about Babcock from the Marner draft? The story that's supposedly out there, and I heard John Shannon say this on TV once, was the Leafs were looking at Marner. I think it was Mark Harner was looking at Marner because of the London connection. And Babcock was yelling and screaming that he wanted Hanifin or Werenski. And they overrode him in his first year as Leafs Leafs coach. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. Not friggin' Leafs GM. You're the coach. Sit your ass down. You get your input. You get your say. I've heard it. Now sit down. Let's not forget, when it comes to the Leafs totem pole, Mike Babcock is not at the top. He's not even near the top. So everyone yelling and screaming about Babcock, the longer this drags on, it's Lou's fault too.
Oh, and Kyle Dubas and Brandon Pridham and Brendan Shanahan.
Who knows who out of the group is yelling and screaming for this guy to stay on the team?
Yeah, but it's the whole team. It's on the whole team. It's on coach and management.
It's getting on my nerves. I've had it up to here.
What if?
What?
What if he plays the whole season and then doesn't see a second of ice time in the playoffs?
But why would you do that?
And we're like, hey, he saved everybody's legs through 82
But they have to play. I don't understand. They got to play hockey.
It's called practice, Adam. Maybe they're getting good in practice.
I cannot wait for Conn Smythe winner Josh Levo to hoist the cup above his head. Can you imagine? I can't wait. I will write the book myself and call it Stupid Like a Fox. The Mike Babcock story.
He's not. No, there's a reason he's doing this, and I want to know what it is. I know. It's what I can't figure out. The forward thing makes sense now because you're limiting ice time. What is it with the defense? Why are they deployed that way?
I don't get it. They're so mysterious and weird. Dermott should have been with the team all year.
Just put him with the team then.
Why? Dude, Polak's saving everyone's legs. Meanwhile, Polak's got 1.5 himself. Maybe give him a couple nights off for crying out loud. Like, you know what? That Jesse stat where he said the Leafs are 14-4-1 without Polak in the lineup. You know why I know that from memory? It's because it's been 14-4-1 for a while. Because he hasn't been scratched in a while. I don't know. I don't get
You know
it.
what would be
I'm
interesting?
really,
super interesting.
Really annoyed.
And I think this would work better if Polak, Borgman, Dermott, and Carrick were in a rotation. That makes more sense to me.
I'd be so much more calm. Maybe.
If those four, if it was the four of them in a rotation, I'd be into it. I just have not seen, and I don't know a single person, not a single person, who said this is the right move. Not a single person thinks this is the right move. So I'd like to figure that out. They will never give us an explanation. We will never know.
Hey,
Chris Johnston probably knows.
Zaitsev, get well soon.
Yeah.
You know what's going to be funny?
That is gonna be good.
At the beginning of February, when Babcock ups all the star players' ice time, but Zaitsev's back as well, and we go, see?
He was right.
It was ice time the entire time.
It probably will.
So we do have Matt Henderson.
Oh, we do? Okay. So we're going to call him?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. So there is a war. There is a war going on in Edmonton right now. The team is losing, and there is again we've got this debate happening again, like we did in 2013 and 2014 and 2015, 2016, 2017 about analytics versus old school guys.
Do we? Is it a debate? Yeah, I feel like it used to be a debate. Yeah, but there is.
Matt Henderson, archaeology guy on Twitter. If you're from Edmonton, you know him. Matt, this has been a tough year for you.
Well, sure. It's pretty ugly. Things are not going well here in Edmonton.
Here, before we get into all the hockey stuff, why archaeology? Are you an archaeologist?
That's what I went to school for. Yeah, I did my master's degree in classical archaeology.
Wow.
Holy smokes. I love when people go, oh, these idiot bloggers. And what's great is if you look into like a lot of the big ones, backstories, they have like master's minimum. Like they're
I'm
brilliant
I'm
people.
the idiot of the group for sure, because like everyone else has law degrees, or they actually went to school for stats. I mean, I didn't do math. I have arts degrees. If someone told me I should have done stats and I could have got a job in the NHL, I might have considered it. But I took symbolic logic for my math credits in university.
I don't even know what that is.
So look it up, and then you and I can have a good chat about, if, then, and therefore, why not?
I tried to take a course in symbolic logic, and it was the hardest thing I've ever, because logic and reasoning is a lot more difficult than you would think. Like you think,
it is.
Like it's extraordinarily tricky, and it's all words. It's like if this, then what, and they give you a scenario, and you're trying to answer these exam questions. Man, it is tough.
Dustin Nielsen here. I disagree.
I had a particularly good professor actually who he just put up 3 lines on the board, and he's like, "There you go, memorize that." And we're like, "Okay, what is it?" And he's like, "This proves God isn't real." I was like, "Okay, hold on." This class is way cooler all of a sudden. I'm going to start paying attention.
So Matt, here, let's get to the burning questions. Why are the dinosaurs fake?
Okay, so I don't do dinosaurs. I do dead people and dead people's stuff. Mostly their stuff.
Oh, good. Well,
That's
that does bring us to the Oilers, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
So did you, to start the season, going in, the Vegas odds had Edmonton, I think, at number 1. And I have to add, it seemed there was a lot of hype, and rightfully so. They had a great second round run and made a change in the offseason.
Connor McDavid. You don't even need to justify it with all you need is 2 words, Connor McDavid.
Right. Did you see something coming, Matt, that maybe other people didn't see? Or did you expect them to be better than... Well, I'm sure you expected them to be better than this.
Okay, I expected them to be better than this, but I had them as worse than they were the year before and fighting for a playoff spot, but I thought they would be in it. I thought they would be... if you take a look at the West right now, there's 5 teams that are really super close to each other. And they're all fighting for that last wild card spot. I thought they'd be right in there. I did not think they would be this bad.
What do you think it is?
Their penalty kill. Their penalty kill is hands down the worst thing that's ever happened in the history of ever.
There's actually, like, the numbers are actually that, right? It's the worst penalty kill ever.
No, it is. Their home penalty kill is the worst home penalty kill in the history of the NHL since they have recorded, that information. There have been 1,029 teams since the NHL has recorded this, and they are 1,029.
But their regular penalty kill, home and away, is only 4 from the bottom.
No.
So
That's right.
not too bad.
So
Yeah.
I've seen. I mean, most of the possession metrics involve like 5-on-5. Are they that bad on the penalty kill, or are they just extraordinarily unlucky, or is it goaltending, or what?
No, it's super weird. Part of it was goaltending. Like really early on in the season, it was goaltending for sure. But even when you take a look at all the fancy stats, and like people, like, the stats nerds, we generally hate when people go, the home versus the away. But if you actually look at their numbers, home and away on the penalty kill, it is night and day. It is night and day difference. They go from allowing like the fewest number of shot attempts to allowing the highest number of shot attempts, or second or third highest, or whatever it might be. Like, there is actually something different about them on the penalty kill at home. It just doesn't make any sense, but there is like a real actual difference.
And it's funny.
and then,
it's funny because home would be the place you would expect it to be stronger. At least I would think.
Yeah. You get all the last change. You have all the little things that should be there for you, and with the home crowd cheering you on, and then and we haven't even thrown any jerseys on the ice this year. So
Oh, not yet.
it's not even that bad of a place for them to play right now.
How's Chris Russell's season?
He's okay. He's actually doing better than he was last year. There's no question about it.
There you go.
There's no question about it. Offensively, he's twice as productive if you look at his points per 60 minutes. So, like, twice as productive.
That's pretty good.
With that makes him a lot better than what he was last year. Because last year he was a defensive sieve and he wasn't adding anything offensively. This year, still sort of defensive problems are there, but he's making up for it by adding some offense to it.
So tell me this. First off, is that your dog in the background?
That is my dog in the background. She's sad that I'm not petting her right now.
Oh, man.
You can pet her while you talk.
I thought that was a kid.
That's a priority.
I'm doing it now. Now I'm multitasking.
The second thing, Matt, is can we talk about there has been some vicious tweets back and forth between bloggers and from traditional mainstream media, and there have been a huge.
I think I saw Wood Guy call, I want to say, Staples a disingenuous asshole.
He did say that.
Who
Yeah.
are these people?
Well, it's like you're talking Mark Spector and David Staples, and then you got
Bob Stauffer, Dustin Nielsen.
Who's Wood Guy?
Wood Guy.
we mentioned him in the last show.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wood Guy is Darcy. Darcy. Now his last name. I'm sorry, Darcy. I forgot your last name. But he's also a fancy stats blogger as well.
Right. So
And generally a good guy.
and generally a good guy.
Yeah, he is. He's generally a good guy. Like he doesn't get worked up too much. Like I've got to meet him in person a few times, and we've hung out. And we've done a couple radio hits together, like live in person. He's just, for him to lose it and call Staples a disingenuous asshole like that. I mean, he was quite worked up about it.
He was fired up. So why does everyone hate you?
Oh, good question. I'm a nice person. No,
You said that like you were convincing yourself. I don't know.
Yeah. Part of it, I think, is because I really am an outsider, pretty much in every way, shape, and form, and I don't pretend to like or value people's opinions.
Okay. All right.
I'm just going to be honest with you. Like, that's what it is. I have
I have the privilege of being on a couple, high-profile platforms, and I am not a journalist, and I didn't go to J school, and I didn't go to radio and television broadcasting, and I have a regular job, and I don't care what Peter Rielly thinks or what Mark Spector thinks or anyone else for that matter. So if I think somebody says something that's a load of crap, I'm just going to say that's a load of crap, and then I'll tell them why. Mm-hmm. And that kind of rubs people the wrong way because that's not how you play the game, right? And I think part of it is just that I don't have to play the game, and I don't want to play the game. I like shaking up the hornet's nest a little bit.
This kind of goes back to what I was saying. Like, I feel like you and but you said you're the idiot of the bunch when it comes to the bloggers. I feel like your type, if I can say that without being too offensive, you're not used to being told you're wrong, and but you are probably used to being told you're wrong by people who have no idea what they're talking about.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So, for example, the dinosaurs aren't real. Have you ever had someone at a bar be like, "Oh, you're an archaeologist? Explain the conspiracy, traitor."
Yeah, exactly. No, all the time.
Really?
All the time, and then. Oh yeah.
No.
I mean,
dude, he's from Alberta.
Like the dinosaur stuff. Like I get a lot of dinosaur stuff.
There's a dinosaur museum in Drumheller.
Yes, I know. And paleontologists everywhere, like archaeologists.
Where do they think?
Whatever.
Where do they think shale comes from, though? It's Edmonton. How could they not think? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Well, like all the oils, the tar sands.
Worked up.
I don't know. That's crazy to me. Anyway, sorry, man. You tell the story.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
I don't even remember what we're talking about anymore.
Oh, we were talking about. Sorry, this is welcome to our show.
Yeah. Sorry.
We're the worst for this.
Here, where I wanted to go next was it was weird. I was kind of reading. I was explaining to Darcy that Edmonton Oilers blogger Twitter is my favorite show, and I usually don't interact. I just lurk. And it's my favorite. It is the best. So a lot came out, I want to say, over the past couple days, and I think a lot of it revolved around that freaking song from TSN.
They write songs about me.
Yeah. Now, how do you know it's about you? Because you blog and everything, and I think the Leafs and Leafs media, I think they peak. Some of them read fairly thoroughly. Mm-hmm. Some of them peak, and I think the organization peaks, but I don't know how up to date on it they are. But it seems like everyone in the Oilers media and with the team, potentially even Todd McClellan, know who you are.
Yep.
That's insane.
To me, there's no question that they know who I am. Like there's only one person who has sort of been vehemently against Chris Russell, for example, like vehemently against Chris Russell, signing him long term, playing him more minutes than he should have been played, willing to point out all the weird things that are wrong that Peter Chiarelli said about Chris Russell, like that he's leads the league in breakout passes or whatever the heck it is that he said a year ago. That didn't make any sense. And it's me, right? I'm pretty much, I'm not the only person in the world that doesn't like Chris Russell. I'm consistently that person. And then when it comes to the song, I mean, Dustin Nielsen said that I was.
Oh, he called you
absolutely. Like, he didn't call me out. I said, "Oh my God, this song is like 90% about me." And he said, "No, actually, it's 30% about you."
So it's a little bit about you. So Adam thinks, or do you think or no?
I know. I know the producer from that show who is not an Oilers fan. He's from Saskatchewan, so he is only a Rough Riders fan. So he revels in the Oilers stinking because it's good for them. It's great content, right? So anyway, that's.
But he sang the song.
Yeah, I do know that guy.
It's probably Lieutenant Eric. So
yes, it is.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah, Eric. He's a good guy.
Here's the thing. I like the morning show. I listen to the morning show on my drive to work. I think it's funny. I had a good laugh when that song came out. But it really is, like, if you listen to the song, the lyrics are very little about Chris Russell. Very much so not Chris Russell.
So what do you think the Oilers need to do? Like, in your estimation, you know, in these situations, unfortunately, the Oilers have thrown away, in my opinion, a lot of talent that they could have used and probably would have never had to make trades in the first place had they just hung on to it. Now, what do? You're Rielly, you're McLellan. You got to surround Connor McDavid with some speed here. What do you do?
Well, I'm with you in that they've thrown away a lot of talent and for no good reason. I think if you take a look at where a lot of the problems are as far as scoring goes, it's scoring on the wing. It's losing a lot of shooting talent and replacing it with not shooting talent. And it's pretty obvious that they just need to get more skill on the wings. And you can either pray that Kyler Yamamoto is going to become a solid top six player and that Jesse Puljujarvi is going to continue to develop, and I think he is.
Mm-hmm. I mean, those are two answers right there, yeah.
Yeah, and then you hold on to your pick this year and you pray that you get someone decent, and you sort of rebuild.
Right.
Or you're probably going to, well, number one, you're going to hold on to that pick anyway, at least until the lottery. You're find out what it is. And if you have fallen far enough down that pick is not going to get you someone who you think is an impact player in the next 2 seasons, then you're going to have to trade it for somebody, a winger that can come along and play with Connor McDavid or Draisaitl or Ryan Nugent-Hopkins.
It's funny when you put it the way you put it, like,
doesn't sound that bad.
How are the Oilers ever going to? And you just named 2 players who they already have, and I think they have the potential to be fine.
They do. Also, they need to fix that penalty kill.
Yeah.
If you fix it, it is quite honestly so bad that it's killing them. Like, it is 100% ruining their season. I've never seen anything like it. So but their home penalty kill is, I think it was 55%.
Wow.
Not that long ago.
So they lost
55.
They lost Anton Lander though. Like, is it personnel?
Well, they lost Anton Lander. They lost Benoit Pouliot. They lost Matt Hendricks. And I don't want to give too much credit to Matt Hendricks, but he was a penalty killer, and so was Pouliot, and so was Lander, and they were quite good at it. And so you take some of those guys out of your bottom 6, and you replace them with Drake Caggiula, who's not really an NHL player, Anton Slepyshev, who's not really an NHL player,
and is available.
By the way, he's available via trade. Everybody,
I know. Hey guys, take this Slepyshev free to a good home.
I looked at his stats. I'm like, Slepyshev. I wonder if the Leafs. And then I was like, nope, no, sorry, don't care.
I like Slepyshev. If I was Arizona or some super awful team, I would take a chance on a Slepyshev. But at the same time, at the same time, every NHL team has their own Slepyshev.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. Okay, then so these problems could be remedied with some even keeled patience and maybe a good move.
So.
Now, do you think they'll be?
I'm just laughing at your dog. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Do you think they'll? Do you think they'll be able to pull that off though? Are they going to get cold or antsy? Are they going to get itchy and want to make a trade? What's the deal? What do you think?
Is there anything in Peter Chiarelli's history that suggests he's going to make a good move next? Like, I don't know.
Woo.
I'm kind of praying that somebody takes over and there's an adult in the room and prevents them from doing something ridiculous.
Oh, wow.
There's an adult.
Do you honestly think? Do you think that because I don't see this as fully obviously there's a shorthanded problem and that's on the head coach. But do you see this as a coach or GM moved on, or do you think there's an assistant coach that's let go and someone else is brought in? How do you see the offseason going?
Okay. Obviously, I'm not running the Oilers, but if I were, I would probably be telling Todd McLellan that he's looking at someone new to run his penalty kill next year. And I think that's I think that's fair when you have an NHL all-time worst penalty kill, and that's a major problem. I think it was Tyler Dello who he had mentioned something. I haven't read any article on it or the article on it, if he's even written it. God, sorry, Tyler. But he was mentioning that Todd McCullen's penalty kill against the 4 forward, 1 defenseman configuration, like over the last 6 years, has been substandard. So it's allowing too many goals against, and now every NHL team is doing that. So he needs to do better there. As far as firing the general manager goes, yes, please.
Wow.
Make it happen.
Wow.
I mean, what are you going to do? Like, you traded Taylor Hall for Adam Larson, and it's completely ridiculous trade from day one. And we had to sit through an entire year of people pointing to the standings and laughing and making fun of the nerds on that one. But the fact of the matter is that Adam Larson can barely pass. It's kind of sad. And Taylor Hall is an NHL All-Star. And then the very next summer, he traded Jordan Eberle for Ryan Strome, and he's apparently upset with Ryan Strome's production. Ryan Strome is on pace for the second highest career total in points he's ever had.
Yeah, Ryan Strome is on pace to be a good version of Ryan Strome.
Yeah, and you're disappointed with this? I mean, that speaks to your judgment, not to Ryan Strome's season. So that's the general manager of the Oilers.
This hurts. This just hurts to hear because
and that's why people don't like me.
So these guys.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
These guys who don't like you've met them, right?
Not too many of them.
No, you met Staples.
I've had interactions with David Staples. We actually, because he has his regular job for the Edmonton Journal is as a columnist, and I actually had a family member who was going through something with the Catholic School Board, and he ended up getting in contact with me and writing a story about this issue that had gone on. And so I had some interactions with him that were non-hockey related, and he was fair, and he was a good guy, and had no major issues with him whatsoever while he was doing that part of his job. Of course, I disagree with a lot of his hockey takes, almost all of them, but that's fine. Mm-hmm. As far as like meeting the other guys, no, I don't even know where we would meet.
So you like don't have like credentials, like you don't go to the games.
Oh God, I only half joke that they I have to wear a disguise when I go in and buy a ticket to go see a game. Like I'm for sure if they knew who I was, probably wouldn't be allowed in the building.
Wow.
That's like another guy I know, but not with the Oilers. Wow. Wow. It's funny. Like, a lot of people would be embarrassed to say the stuff you're saying. Like, well, the team knows who I am, but like, you're confident that like this is true.
Well, okay. I mean, number one, the song. So I was told that for sure I was at bare minimum a major part of the inspiration for the song. The head coach went on this like massive rant about defending Chris Russell after he had one of the worst possible games ever, and he was going on about the nerds and the bloggers and whatever. But again, there's only one. Mm-hmm. Like there's only one who consistently took runs at Russell and his value and what he was providing to the team, and that's me. So yeah, I'm pretty confident they know who I am. They won't say my name ever.
Sure.
Like I'm basically Voldemort. Like he who shall not be named, and they sort of treat it like that. But yeah, I've got no question that they know exactly who I am.
Wow.
You know who in his Corsi. What kind of dog do you have?
It's a quote-unquote border collie mix, but the dog is definitely like super low percentage border collie and much higher Pitbull, and Boxer.
But whatever, you and your dog numbers.
That explains it. I thought all the whining, and you're out in Alberta, right?
Yeah.
I thought for sure that was a husky. Huh?
No. But she's just a big suck and wants to be pet and held all the time. She's a big baby.
Well, we'll let you do that.
Yeah.
How about that?
Thank you for making time for us today.
Yeah, no one likes it, but at least
thanks.
your dog does.
Yeah, my dog loves me at least.
And we like you too.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun talking to you. It's fun to get the inside perspective. And boy, Oilers Twitter is just very, very interesting right now.
So fun. Archaeology. It's just archaeology with a U before the Y, right?
That's exactly it.
Yeah, I just couldn't say it properly because I'm brain dead tonight.
Well, it's weird.
Always. Hey, man, thanks so much, Matt. Appreciate it.
No problem. Anytime.
Well, I mean...
What?
It sure sounds like the Leafs Twitter wars during the Randy Carlyle, Dave Nonis years.
Yeah, except like this has never really stopped.
In Edmonton?
No,
it never stopped.
Because what they basically had to do was deal with all like the gloating last year. Like, well, that Taylor Hall trade has sure paid off.
Oh, you know what I forgot to ask him?
Oh, what?
I was going to ask him, would you take Larson or Ceci? Damn it, I forgot that trade.
I think I know his answer. Well, and it's funny. It's so funny because people were just like, Adam Larson, second round. And then he had that big game in the playoffs. But then Taylor Hall puts one snarky tweet out about...
they told me I couldn't, or I wasn't a winner or something?
Yeah, they told me I wasn't a winner because he's been on like both winning All-Star teams the last couple of years. And people immediately go, Clash, the son of a... They get all upset. It's got to be great being Taylor Hall. It's going to be hilarious looking back in his career if he wins everywhere but Edmonton. Man, in junior hockey, that guy could not stop winning. Back-to-back Memorial Cups. Are you kidding me? Gets to the NHL, all of a sudden he stinks? I don't know.
No, he never stunk.
There's blemishes in his game,
he
for
never
sure.
stunk.
But like,
yeah. Well, anyway,
everybody has that.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah, Matthews has back-checked really poorly the last 2 or 3 games. I'm not about to trade him. Jesse, are you still here?
I am.
Oh, there you go.
Hey, do you guys want to do the press conference?
All the way.
Prince.
I have to read an email from Nathan. It's not an auto.
Jesse likes to throw bombs.
Nathan Lewis is a corporal in the Canadian Armed Forces, and he wrote us an email.
Oh.
It says, hey man, my name is Nathan Lewis, and I am in the Canadian Armed Forces.
Hello, Corporal. Is that how I...
I'm currently deployed in Egypt, and in my spare time, I'm always tuning in to your podcasts. I started watching your podcast a few months back, and I can't get enough. I'm a diehard Leafs fan myself and love your guys' constant chatter about them. Would you be willing to give us a shout out on your next episode?
Hell yeah.
This is it. There's not many of us here, but I've attached a picture of us playing ball hockey. Thanks, man. Keep up the good work.
Oh my God.
Go Leafs, go. Nathan Lewis.
Show me this picture.
Yeah, I need to see this. That's so cool. Imagine like... Oh my God. Here, wait. Let me see.
Oh, that's sick.
Oh, wicked.
Yeah.
Oh my God. If I could afford a plane ticket over, I'd go play with you.
What was the name of their team?
He doesn't say the name of the team,
Well,
no.
just shout out Corporal Nathan and all of Corporal Nathan's friends? Underlings? Friends. Let's go with friends. In Egypt. That's freaking awesome. Imagine like looking out at the sunset and seeing like the pyramids.
He didn't say it was in Cairo. He could be anywhere.
No, shush. It's better this way. He sees the pyramids.
Could have been the Nile.
And he sees the Nile in the background. It's right next to the pyramids, probably. And sees the Sphinx also.
Probably there. Yeah.
And then it's us going, are you nuts trading Matthews? What? Imagine seeing all that all next to each other, you know, the way they are. And then hearing us talk about hockey like idiots.
Oh.
You have a strange taste.
You know, that is the
Mr.
first
Nathan.
time I think we've got...
Corporal Nathan.
The first time I think I can't remember another time where I've gotten an email from like the armed forces, because everything I do...
I've gotten a few. On the Reddit page.
We've had a few?
We get some from like Afghanistan.
So the I tend to stay off the Reddit page because it's pretty bad for my confidence.
It's gotten better. It actually, there was a period where I was like, do you guys like the show?
Yeah.
No. I was like, do you guys like it here? I don't know if you do. But it's more productive. I'm not going to, listen, we don't have the page for people to kiss our asses.
No.
But it's less.
You'll
I like
hate
it a little
you
better.
And the more, okay.
You'll like it a little
basically, there's nothing I do outside of this show, really, that could be picked up by anybody in the armed forces. So, unless they were specifically had like the Kiss 92.5 app on their phone when they left the country.
Yeah, they're off in Afghanistan and they're like, I want to hear what pop songs are being played in Toronto right now.
So that's kind of the first time that's happened for me for a note like that. And I am so appreciative. That is so cool.
It is very cool. I think we've gotten one from Korea as well. And I want to say one other country, I can't remember.
Well,
hey, if you're in the armed forces,
thank you for listening.
Let us know. I don't know. I'm always just fascinated knowing where people are listening from. We have one guy. Oh shoot, I forgot his name. I'm such a jerk. But he'll get up at like 5:30 in the morning and watch Leaf games from Pakistan.
Oh yes.
And like he's just decided I'm a fan of all Toronto sports teams, and he's from and lives in Pakistan. Like
Usman, I believe is his name.
There it is.
Yeah.
And he. I don't think he has any connection to Toronto other than he's like, screw it, I like them.
I just can't believe you guys make time for this shithole podcast from this shithole country.
No, it's just you.
Oh, okay.
I'm kidding. Oh, I got what you were going for. Sorry, I thought you were going for self-deprecation when in fact you were quoting the president.
If CNN can say shithole, we can too.
That was some dark comedy from today, but I was like, well, at least we got every major news outlet justifiably using the word shithole.
This afternoon, when we would normally be recording the podcast, Steve was on Twitter. And Steve was responding to the Florida Panthers because James Reimer was hosting Ask Me Anything. And Steve asked James Reimer, have you framed this picture? Hashtag Ask Reimer.
And the pictures of me and James Reimer.
And James Reimer responded, come on, Steve. Obviously, I keep it under my pillow at night. How could you doubt our friendship? Heart emoji. I thought that was very sweet of Reimer.
That was really nice of him.
It was like getting a warm hug. Like I had this rainy day mood. It's weird and warm and rainy in the GTA today. And that was just James Reimer is just a human cup of cocoa.
That's pretty good.
With marshmallows and everything. God, I love you, James.
Cup of cocoa, okay?
Mrs. Dangle today goes, you think the Leafs will ever get James back? And I just go, don't ruin this. Don't ruin this, please. I'm in such a good mood.
Alex_Porter wrote on the Reddit page, Adam, can the Steelers beat the Patriots?
Can the Steelers beat the... Boy, here's the problem. Steve, we've talked about this before. There's teams that always have, even when they're better, there's a team that always sort of has their number.
Get your goat.
Give me an example of a team that better, but always has its goat gotten.
I mean, the Leafs and the Sens right now. The Leafs should be kicking their ass.
The Caps and the Pens last year.
Ooh, interesting.
No,
that's fair.
Is that fair?
They won the damn President's Trophy. They should have... Every time you win the President's Trophy and don't win the Stanley Cup, you're a failure.
Wow. Well, that's most teams that have won the President's Trophy.
Well, you finished first, and you lost.
By the way, have you heard of the movement online of people saying that, well, the President's Trophy is really the harder one to win?
Shut up. If that were true, then the President's Trophy winner would win it a lot more often, don't you think? Win the Stanley Cup more often, I mean.
Now, I have a couple things. There's apparently some drama going on with the Steelers, right? There's the report that Ben Roethlisberger isn't even speaking to the offensive coordinator, and he has to speak through an intermediary. Ryan Shazier, who was an absolute stud for the team, obviously had his back injury and has had surgery, and thankfully has regained feeling apparently in his legs, which is amazing. So that's great for his recovery, but he may not play again. And you've got a very strong defense team, but here's the main problem.
I thought there was like more inter-team beef there too.
Well, there is because so
imagine something with Antonio Brown or
no. It's better. Okay, so I want you to imagine the two best teams in the league right now in the NHL are the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Montreal Canadiens. Okay, and Montreal's been better for longer.
They've been better for a longer time. They've won more championships. Not unfair to say.
Is Montreal the Patriots?
Montreal is the Patriots in this setting. And by the way, they are the Patriots. Like, they've won the most. I mean,
I got you. Okay.
Anyway, imagine a guy who's played for your team for 15 years. So imagine, let's say it's
Carey Price.
Now he's a former All-Star, former Defensive Player of the Year. Okay, so he's a big-time defenseman on your team. He's hard-hitting, he's tough, and he played really smart. And now he's like your 7-8 guy. So he gets in some games and gets out others, and he just doesn't get in as much as he used to. Okay?
Yes.
He signs a 2-year contract in the offseason to finish out his career. He's going to be 40, 41 when this thing's done. And again, that is his role. He's a 7 or 8 guy. I'm giving you all this context to tell you what's going on.
Andre Markov should have been.
Sure.
Ish.
And
You don't have to relate it to hockey.
Yes, I do.
midway through the
It can
season,
just exist as its own thing.
I do it for me, and I also do it for the people who are going, no, God, that's not right at all. Jeez.
midway through the season,
Oh no, does Andre Markov get hurt?
midway through the season, player who has been dependable for 15 years says to your management, I'm not getting played. I'm not happy here. You got to let me go. And let's say in the NHL, you're allowed to just cut people because you can. The Steelers cut James Harrison.
Yeah.
Right before Christmas.
Wow.
James Harrison signed with the Patriots a couple days later. And James Harrison knows the entire Pittsburgh Steelers playbook.
Oh. So they're boned.
They're going to have to play their lights out.
I mean,
and the Patriots always
it's not like the Patriots don't already have all of that on tape.
Yeah, it's not like they haven't stolen it already.
From their practice.
But the Patriots have, to me, a decided advantage now.
Okay.
Because Bill Belichick's
top
like,
of them being
pay
the
him what you want, pay him whatever, and I just need to have an interview with him. And whether he sees a freaking snap, it doesn't matter. He's been worth it. He's worth the money. If they bought the Super Bowl, then if they won the Super Bowl, they bought it for $1 million or whatever they're paying him.
You know what? You did get a little bit of grief on the Reddit page recently.
Oh, great.
It was about Jared Goff.
He's been better. He's been much better. I still don't. There still was that was still a big trade, but I mean the Rams they were in. I'm not sure if
they lost last week.
Yeah, but he had a great year.
Last I checked, there were like 20 comments on it, so I think it was a lot of people going back and forth about it.
Yeah.
Right.
And I thought for sure, the second I saw 20 comments, I'm like, Adam's in a fight with someone right now.
Oh no.
And then I saw you hadn't even responded.
No. He's had a great year. He had a great year. Absolutely.
Oh.
So I give him that for sure.
Sound like Matt Henderson right now going, Chris Russell's been better.
He did. It's just, yeah. Anyway, it's just the Rams organization in general is a whole nother thing. Anyway, James Harrison, playbook. That would be my biggest thing. That's the drama.
Interesting.
And
the
people
playbook is worth like so much in football, right?
Huge. It's everything. In hockey, it's all essentially play. Like everybody knows how to play the trap. Everybody knows how to,
It's styles as opposed to set plays. I love the... There was like a Cam Newton clip that went viral recently where he's calling out the play and then someone on the defense of the other team goes, oh, it's this play, it's this play. Cam Newton goes, you've been watching some tape, huh? Here, watch this. And then he calls it out anyway, and it's what the defender thought it was, but the fake version of it. And of course, the Panthers score easily.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was great. I just did a great dad explanation of that video. Jesse, you got something on your phone?
I was checking my screenshots to see if I had anything else to add for the press conference, but I didn't.
You don't?
I usually have some screenshots in there and I bring them up, but I didn't have any today.
Do you have any guilt that you were like a bad part of Rob Volman's day?
We were bad. How were we?
He kind of did that to himself.
He did that to himself when him and his editor hit publish. So
it was a little bit reassuring because a lot of people were like, "Oh, this just shows you how crap ESPN's hockey coverage was." Or is. It was a little reassuring to me that like they spent several days planning that.
Yeah.
And like weighed the consequences and they went, you know what, just do it.
It wasn't just, let's just do this and send it out and blah. It was actually, okay, let's think about this. Do we want to do this? Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean,
it's well thought out.
He did stick to it though.
Yeah.
He did stick to it. I gotta respect it.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. But no, I like that. I like that a lot.
If somebody would to give you the world for Auston Matthews, you would do the trade, but nobody's going to do that. And you're an idiot for doing that.
Steve, would you ever stop doing LFRs? No. Why would I ever do that? That makes no sense. Steve, what if someone gave you an annual salary of $5 million to do nothing? Yes, I would stop doing LFRs.
That's
yes.
exactly.
Yeah, I'm sorry, everyone. I love you, but goodbye. I'll be really sad without you, but to alleviate that sadness, I will jet ski in my pool that is big enough to jet ski in. Hey, everyone who messaged me after the last show offering their support, in some cases actually offering me their skills. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It made me feel a little bit better. You need to stop getting so down on yourself. Pouty existential crisis. Jesse, this is just part of getting older, okay?
Is it?
This happens.
Is it?
No, I don't know.
Mid-29 crisis?
Yeah. You know what? It's occurred to me it's weird. My wife has been dreading turning 30 all year.
Why?
She's been dreading turning 30 since she turned 29.
Okay.
Why?
She has
What's wrong with 30? 30's great, man.
No, there's something to it. The number means
I'm
something
jacked.
into society.
There's jacked for my 30s. It's going to be wicked.
Yeah, but you wear too many cardigans to not be jacked to be 30.
Adam, you've been jacked about turning 30 since you were 18.
Yeah.
20s are just a lot of hassle, okay? 30s, everybody just calm down.
Adam's going to be the perfect 55-year-old.
For sure.
He's been working all his life to be 55.
Well, my 55th birthday, I'll be like, I have been waiting for the...
I've done it! It's me time, baby! Like,
my time to
you're gonna
shine.
nail it.
They're going to be like, Adam, here you go. And they're going to give you a bunch of socks that go up to your knees, and you're just going to lift up your pant leg and go, oh, I already got them.
Been wearing these ones for 25 years.
You're going to be such a dad with short shorts and working on his fundamentals, and you're going to have a wicked layup.
Wicked layup.
Already.
So I understand just the number for the context of society. 30 means something, and that SL has some kind of resistance to it. That makes sense.
But she's been all year. But for me, it's been maybe the past month. I've been like, oh man, I'm turning 30. And
it's a long time.
I don't know how I feel about it.
Something about you hit. We say this a lot, but there's something about your mid-20s, man. You hit it, and then all of a sudden it's over. It's crazy. It goes really fast. Your early 20s are slow, like your teen years, but your late 20s are like.
I feel like it's turning 18 again in a way, because when you're approaching 18, it's this big thing.
Yeah.
And then you turn 18, and the moment you turn 18, nothing happens, and you go, oh, okay.
But it's also that of, how did I get here? Wow, that's been 18 years.
I thought
now.
I'd be smarter.
Yeah.
That was what I thought at 18 was, oh shit, I thought I'd be way smarter than this. Then when I graduated post-secondary school at 22, I was like, I thought I'd be way smarter than this. And now I'm coming up on 30, and I'm like, I still know next to nothing.
I think your expectations are off.
Are they?
Yeah, I think you should expect to be dumb, because it seems like your life has told you that to this point.
I thought I put off getting a dog for years because I thought I wasn't smart enough or responsible enough to get a dog. And it just turns out I was totally responsible enough. It was just that I didn't have to do it, so I would have never done it. But then you get a dog and you're like, okay, well, I just rise to the occasion.
Yeah.
I think that's what kids are too. I think it's like, oh, well, I would never do that, or I could never do that. And then you get one and you're like, well, it's going to not survive if I don't, so I better do it. And then you just do it.
When you're 17, you're like, oh, I can never live on my own. And then you move out and you're like,
oh no, at 17, I knew I could.
Maybe
I was ready to move out about 12, I think. I was ready to pay bills. I was excited about it. I remember I used to pay all my bills in Halifax with a check.
Oh, nice. Adam was
Mail them out.
8 years old, tugging on his mom's sleeve going, Mom, have you remembered to call H&R Block? It's that time of year, Mom.
I don't think I've ever written a check in my life.
Really?
Yeah, now that I think about it. I have a checkbook.
Not even a void check?
No.
For direct deposit or anything like that?
No. How do you get paid?
It goes to my bank account. What do you mean?
Yeah, you didn't have to give them a void check for that?
No, you just send them the transit number and your account number. You type it in on the Yammer.
On Yammer? Oh, that's the Rogers thing
social media.
that everyone
Yeah,
hates?
Rogers
I
Yammer.
can't make inside Yammer jokes. Nobody does.
We have the office.
There's like one guy who works in the call center right now who's like, that was good. Yeah. That was really good.
It was good if you got it. It's a good joke. I'm sorry.
There's this, just for anybody that doesn't know, which is everybody, we have an intra-office social media account that looks somewhat like Facebook that only managers post and go, this is best practices. Oh, I had an employee talk to me the other day and blah, blah, blah. And then all the other managers like it. And all the employees that care, that want a promotion basically, like it. And then everybody else kind of ignores it and pretends it doesn't exist.
There's a box of toffee Fay by the sink. Don't be late.
You know what?
I would like to thank you, and thank you means merci. I got some chocolate in there.
What do you? He's already 44.
That's the chocolate.
Which means Adam has about 7 months until his 50th birthday.
So Adam, you're excited for turning 30?
Hell yeah.
Yeah?
Absolutely. I think 30 is going to be great. You know why?
That's not shocking at all.
I am first off, I'm a way better person. Way better person than I was.
Disagree.
You're far better than what?
Than I was in my early 20s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
for sure. Like, most of that just comes from awareness. There are social media posts that I'm sure I would regret if I went back far enough. There are things that I've said on the radio that I know I regret and would never have said now, but you grow up and you become aware. And I think there are things in life that I did that were just so stupid, and I'm just so happy I don't have to do those again.
Well, it's like, you're probably a better center at 25 than you are at 20.
Sure. Yeah.
But like you have to do that like in life. In 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 a year.
I find it so interesting that the two of you have polar opposite opinions on turning 30.
I guess I wonder if it's like an itch. Like maybe it's I need a new challenge. Like it's funny with and like I need to give it to myself. I'm not about to quit. Like that's why I'm having this existential crisis with my YouTube channel. I need to challenge myself to do something different. Like Adam mentioned, rising to the occasion. Like I always feel like I'm an idiot and I don't know how to do anything and I suck at everything. And then when big situations come up,
That was so aggressive.
yeah, but at least it was with me.
I mean, that's a bit aggressive.
Yeah, at least it was against myself. But I feel like when I need to rise to the occasion, I usually do a really good job of it.
Steve's brushing his teeth. You're such a fucking idiot. God, you're such a fucking idiot. What are you, a guy with 70,000 subscribers on YouTube? A fucking idiot.
I bought a different toothbrush
You have a
recently
house?
because I was like, I'm not brushing my teeth.
You have a house,
properly.
a happy marriage,
I legit
and-
did that. Yeah, it's got part regular bristles and part rubber bristles. I've been seeing.
Steve,
Was it what brand?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh my god!
I don't know. I just know what it looks like.
I wanted to shout out your toothbrush.
No,
man.
I'm very much a guy when it comes to shopping. I go that one and just grab it. I do very little planning.
you have a house, you have a wife, and a happy marriage. Key.
Yes.
A lot of people can get married. Not a lot of people can have a happy marriage.
Yeah.
More importantly than that, you have 2 dogs.
And that's what I was going to get to. You have more than 99% of people living right now.
I know.
You've done well enough to do that. You'll be all right.
I hope that.
Yeah. And everybody else listening to this, you're doing great. If you've attended one university class in your life or one college class or one apprenticeship hour, you have more education than 99% of the world. Do you know that?
I do.
It's crazy.
You know, yes, Jesse?
No, if you have access to a machine that can play a podcast,
Yeah.
you're doing pretty well.
You're doing good.
You're doing great.
I don't feel like broke or unlucky. I definitely don't feel unlucky. I don't feel like a victim. That's for sure. I don't think any of the negative things that I feel about myself or situation are not because I feel like I'm being wronged. For sure. I don't know. I'm restless. I just feel restless right now. That's all.
I'm jacked as shit for my 30s, man. It's going to be
Okay, if this was a BuzzFeed article and it's by Adam Wilde, headline, I don't know how much time, can I keep going?
Yeah, sure, man.
Okay. We should just how much time do I have?
Yeah, a little bit.
We should do a full podcast where it's like life lessons with Adam and Steve, and I just ask you guys questions about life.
We'll do that this summer when we got nothing to talk
I think
about.
people would love that.
I don't know if they'd listen to that.
Adam buys those like weird brown shoes with like the Velcro on them that look.
No, the square-toed black ones.
Yeah, they look sort of like.
Tag a friend who would wear these shoes.
That's. Adam definitely saw the Steph Curry shoes and was like, I don't see the big deal. Those are fine. Those Those are fine. Oh, and when they get a little tattered, you can mow the lawn on them. They're great.
Man, mowing the lawn in white tennis shoes. That's my favorite old man thing.
And you bet my dad did it.
When you got pants on, like pants, not jeans or track pants, whatever. Pants that are iron.
That are tan.
That are
And they
tan.
have a crease down the front. They have a crease because they're folded by Nancy. Nancy folded them last night.
Good old Nance.
Yeah, and she ironed them.
My friend's dad, who I was literally envisioning, his wife is Nancy.
See?
Wasn't making it up.
Oh my God.
Anyway, so there's a BuzzFeed article, and it's by Adam Wilm. It's 5 lessons I learned throughout my 20s, now that I'm 30.
I have to do this now?
And you got to come up with 5 lessons. What are the 5 headlines? You don't really have to break them down, but what are your 5 headlines?
Talk less, listen more. And I know that's, talk a lot less. Like, however much you think you're listening, listen 50% more.
Yeah, I know on camera I talk exponentially more than I used to, but in real life I talk a lot less.
Yeah.
I talk a lot less and listen a lot more.
Ask questions. And that goes with the listening thing.
Always.
Ask questions. Be curious, man. I think the best thing I've ever done, because sometimes you meet people, like say you're at the office, there's always someone who's got the power position at the office, whoever that person is, right? No matter what kind of office place you're in.
Greg
with the power. He's got the corner office with both windows.
Greg drives a BMW.
Right.
Oh, Adam, you do. But
Now
he drives one of the other ones.
He drives a better BMW.
Also,
Not hard.
his financial advisor told him to lease a BMW.
That's right. Do not.
And also, Adam has been saying that for years. Because he's, back in the day when he was 38.
I made that mistake. No, and what I mean is talk to the person in your office, he or she, doesn't matter, obviously. And talk to the person who seems to genuinely have their pulse on what makes whatever it is you want to do tick. So if you're not in your industry, find the person in that industry that seems to have it going on and talk to them and make that connection with them and keep talking to them.
Gather a variety of opinions.
Yeah, so that's that one.
Also, because one thing you can do as well is you can...
Oh, I'm sorry. Was this your thing or was this mine?
Oh, okay.
No, I'm kidding.
I was just going to say, feedback to that is, what I've done in the past is I've gotten elders' take on something, and I've been like, that's the way it is. And
Who's
then
Elder?
Not Don Elder from Ryerson, if that's who you're talking about. An Elder.
Nobody knows who the fuck that is.
Don Elder. I guarantee a bunch of people are going to tweet me. I know Don Elder. I had Don Elder. Radio and television arts.
But did you see that post on Yammer the other day?
Oh, inside jokes.
Oh my God, Dave Staples.
No, find people who know what the fuck they're talking about and who are not focused on gossip. They're focused on.
But how do you know if they know what they're talking about, right? You got to test it.
Okay, fair enough.
You got to test it with multiple opinions and
so once you find that out, my point is ask them as many fucking questions as you can. Take 10 minutes here, take 10 minutes there. Just do it.
Here, I got a funny example. Just it's not an attack, and I love this man. James Nadler was a professor of mine at Ryerson University. You have James Nadler?
I did. He is a very high TV man in the Toronto industry.
He is. I feel like he works on a lot of really popular shows.
A lot of children's shows.
That guy's got a lot. That guy's got a lot of. That guy's got a lot of Gemini awards, probably.
Yeah.
So he made a prediction in our history of broadcast course one time, and he boldly said there will be a talk show on primetime television within the next year. You watch, and lo and behold, Jay Leno leaves. What is it? Late night. Mm-hmm. Is that a show? He leaves that
Tonight Show.
The Tonight Show, sorry, for the Jay Leno show. And he goes, see, there it is, talk show in prime time. I was right. Now, while he was right, it also ended up being one of the biggest disasters in television history.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So while his perspective was like, this is what's going to happen, it had nothing to do on the success of that thing.
Right.
Now, that is a very light example. James is brilliant.
Okay.
But there are other people who have given me advice, and I've been like, totally, you're right. And that there's nothing worse than and this isn't a shot at you, there's nothing worse than a young person who acts old. There's nothing worse than a young person who does an impression of an older person they know.
Right.
You've always been more mature than your age, but this is different. You ever hear, I'm listening to Harry Potter right now, and I'm thinking of Percy Weasley.
Right. Yeah. I got you. Yeah.
He's doing an impression of he's doing an impression of his boss because that's how he thinks the world is supposed to work. No, be your own freaking person. Sorry, there's a lot going on right now.
What are we at? 3?
Yeah, that was 2.
2.
So
Jesus Christ. Can I get through the last 3
Yeah,
here?
sorry, go ahead. I had something I wanted to add.
Sorry, I wanted to add.
But not to this point.
Those last 10 minutes weren't an ad?
No, it's something else. It's unrelated, Jesse.
Adam,
It has nothing to do with what they're talking about.
Here comes Steve with 6 more things.
On 22. Welcome to see, it's not just me. Someone else did the chair thing. Welcome back to another thing with Steve Dangle.
Wait, it wasn't even your thing.
No.
I'm sure Jesse would have asked you, but now he doesn't need to.
No.
We're making fun of you, but keep going.
Well, it's a dumb comparison, but you were like, Steve, look at what you got. You got this, you got that, you got that going for you, you got that for you. On one of Kendrick Lamar's albums, I don't remember which one it is, Dr. Dre leaves him a voicemail. And he goes, I'm certainly not about to do a Dr. Dre impression. I will very Steve Dangley recite what he said. He basically said, hey, remember the first time you came to my house? You said you wanted a spot like mine? Well, just remember, anybody can get it. The hard part is keeping it.
It was on Good Kid, Mad City.
Thank you.
Yep.
I couldn't remember. I knew it was one of the 2.
True.
And a lot of people go, hey, man, you made it. You made it. But I've said this on the podcast before. Hey, man, you made it. You're doing highlights at CBC. You made it. You know, you're on Sportsnet. You made it.
I definitely think highlights at CBC.
No, man, I was told that. I was told that. But, like, how ridiculous is it to have even been told that? I've been told that, dude. Man, you work at CBC. You got it made. You work at Sportsnet. You got it made.
Okay.
Like, dude, you can lose made it pretty fast.
Yeah.
Well,
Believe me, when I did highlights at CBC, I thought I had it made. I was like, this is it. This is the rest of my life. And I'll climb and I'll be Ron McClain times 3. Don't worry about it. I'm fine.
Got those highlights.
Oh, yeah. See how preposterous it was to ever think that?
You know those CBC.ca highlights you see? I voiced those.
You know what? Right now I am anxious and insecure, but I would rather be those things than comfortable.
Great.
Because comfortable is complacent.
What's point 3?
It's a good question, Jesse. I'm going to have to take 10 minutes to just... Steve, can you fill for me? I'm going to have to think about this one.
Another thing I learned from a Kendrick Lamar album, particularly Good Kid, Mad City, is...
No, here's what I would say, too. When you're in your early 20s, your life is really up and down, especially that first relationship.
I hate your tears, Jesse.
And Jesse is the best. Your life is really up and down. You're in a first relationship, you get into a really bad fight, and it's like the whole world is sad and it's ending, and you feel it in your gut all day. And then you're back together and it's all good and everything's happy and it's ecstasy and every love song on the radio is written about the two of you. What I would suggest to you is what you get towards your 30s is something called perspective. And I'm assuming you get more and more of it as you get older, which I'm looking forward to because sometimes I could still use it. You know who's great at perspective? You just get the best perspective normally, like day in, day out that I've ever met? Jesse Blake.
Jesse's really good at making me feel dumb about my problems.
Yeah, and some people just have it. I didn't. I'm an emotional guy. I'm up here, I'm down there. And so perspective kind of evens you out. And it's not that you become less passionate. It's because you become less reactive. And you don't want to be reactive. You want to be the one that takes the action, not the one who reacts to someone else's action. And that's what I've learned a little bit. So you know, just take a step back in all the situations that you're in right now, if they feel a little bit crazy, and go, okay, what about this can I fix right now? What about this is completely out of my hands? The stuff that is completely out of your hands, try to, not always easy, try to stop worrying about it. Because it's really, if there's nothing you can do, the only thing you can do is what you can do the thing that you can do, and that's it.
Take out a marker board or a piece of paper and write down everything that's bothering you.
Actually,
and if you can, try to connect them.
And while you're at it, write down everything Steve told you in the last 10 minutes.
Listen to Good Kid, Mad City. And be like, you know what? That was a sage voicemail.
My other recommendations are this. I've pissed away a lot of money on cars. And I have not, and I've got good, like, I like searching for cars and I like searching for condos. That's what the two things. I love real estate and I love cars. I have never bought a car. I know you got something to say.
I didn't say anything.
I once saved $1.
I saved myself.
The most expensive car I ever bought was my first car. It was $22,000. The second most expensive.
You paid $22,000 for that?
For that Subaru, yeah. The second most expensive car I ever bought was $20,000. The third most expensive car I bought, $16,000, and I bought those in descent in order. So my most expensive, my second most expensive, my third most expensive, and now I'm driving a car that is worth less than $10,000. And I got to tell you this: I know having a great car is sick. If you have the chance to get, I had a 2-seater 350Z, and
for what?
For 3 years.
That car was super fun,
and it was
dumb.
But
why?
Boy, it was fucking awesome.
But
it was fine for that time of your life.
For sure. If you can be in your early 20s and drive a 2-seater car, sure, why not?
You know what I need to do is carry around nothing and zip around Toronto traffic like a total dick.
Yeah, I was.
And I was great because I was with you going, it's taking us half the time it's taking the rest of you.
My Metro Pass cost me $141 every month.
And that's it. And you got around better than I did. Now, the key I wanted so here. So we've got $22,000 plus $20,000. That's $40,000 plus another $16,000 on top of that. Now we're well. What are you north of 60 yet?
Because of math, you're at like 75,000.
That's $60,000.
I don't know.
$60,000 that over the course of 10 years I could have done a lot more.
Down payment on a house. Down payment on a house.
Your car. Lease your car. Do not piss away your money on buying a car.
I bought my car.
Lease your car.
I bought my car, but I've also been very fortunate with my car.
I know you're feeling guilty about leasing your car because I told you to lease your damn car.
Lease that.
And then here's the last thing.
Or if you don't need a car, don't get a car.
Yeah, if you don't need a car, be like Jesse, don't get a car. The last thing I would say is this. As soon as you can get your foot in the real estate market, doesn't matter how small, get your foot in the real estate market.
Just add them with exposed brick.
Get in there.
Yeah, so true.
If you buy, even if it's a cheap apartment and you live in it for a year and then you rent it out, don't sell it, rent it out. And then buy another place, small, create a little empire for yourself, become a little landlord, do your job on the side, read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I'm not even kidding. This is super easy stuff. And then
Adam wrote that.
No, I didn't. But
he was 16.
Honestly, get in as early as you can because prices of homes are not going anywhere but up.
Now, a lot more practical because a lot of you are probably listening going, well, I can't afford 16. Either of those things, so no problem. No, you know what I've seen a lot of people piss their money away? And when I was a broke student, I pissed so much money away doing this.
Hockey cards.
Yeah, that's true.
Gilbert
Stupid
Brule
shit like
cards.
that. Booze. That's another one. Pre-drink. No, what I was going to say. I know, Jesse. Dude and dudettes, cook.
Yeah.
Cook. Don't go to friggin' Subway every day. And don't go to, don't buy crap every day. Your body will thank you for it, for sure. But it's amazing. Like, if you eat out every meal of one day and you go cheap, how much money are you spending?
Probably spending $60.
Minimum, like 30.
At least in Canada.
Something like that, yeah.
Well, if you're eating McDonald's the whole time, sure, fine. Dude. But like if you're sitting down to a meal, bare minimum $60.
Pasta's cheap.
Oh, you mean like at a restaurant?
Yeah.
$60 is a little aggressive.
You think so?
You go to Jack.
No, every meal though. So
not one meal.
What do you
three
mean?
meals.
Oh,
so
3 meals.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Okay. Now I get what you're saying. I'm like, what do you? Okay.
Yeah, or like even one every day, like that adds up. If you spend $10 every day, that's $50 a week, right?
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah.
So yeah, man, eggs, those are cheap and they're good for you. We just found out, or they're apparently good for you. Pasta is super easy to cook. Mexican food is the easiest food to cook on earth, just behind Italian food. You can cook yourself some good stuff for cheap. Do it. Are we done?
I think so.
Sorry, I just realized I'm like, what are we even talking about anymore? Yeah, okay, I don't know. Yeah. Don't worry. Over the next 5 days, I hope this 30's
gonna roll. That's all I'm saying.
I'll keep questions on a notepad somewhere for you guys during the summer. We'll do life advice with Adam and Steve. Do a podcast.
Yeah, you know what would be great too is if anybody had any questions that they would dare take our advice on. Because listen, I don't want to give unsolicited advice. I feel like I just did, but I think I gave you what I learned. You can choose to take it or leave it. But if you did legitimately have any questions, throw them at Jesse. He'll keep track of them.
I will keep track of them if you send them to me in the summer.
Okay. we'll talk about it.
I'm kidding.
And we love you guys. And we hope you have a great day, great weekend.
Yeah. Hey, if you're driving in the GTA and it's Friday,
your car better be freaking leased.
Or it better have freaking snow tires. You know what it's going to do? It's going to piss rain all night. It's going to piss rain all morning. And then the temperature is going to go from like 7 degrees Celsius to -3.
Wow.
It's just going to drop sharp, and we're all going to be skating on the 401. It's going to be fun.
You know what would be way more uncomfortable? If they said it's going to leak rain. It's going to leak rain.
It's going to
all
leak
over your head.
Yeah, you're right.
Right? That's
this
way
rain
more
is
uncomfortable.
Way funnier.
It's like a thing.
Now I'm going to think about that on the way home.
The Raptors are currently up 29 points on Cleveland.
I know.
Holy shit, really?
Yeah. Go Raptors.
Fred VanVleet has 19 points. So we're having a good night.
Woo! Woo! Go Raps! LeBron to the Raps, confirmed. Woo!
Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Brought to you by Panago Pizza. Order at panago.com and stuff your face with deliciousness.